lesson. Is it lesson or was it forum? Let's call it a forum. Would like to pray for us. Please unmute yourself and say a prayer for us. I think it's always good to start with a word of prayer. Anyone before I pick someone? Anyone? Anyone? Please. Is it still on the webinar settings? Grace, what does that mean? I don't understand. Don't understand.
You want someone to pray?
Yes, I want someone to pray. Yes, thank you.
Can I pray?
Yes, please do pray. Thank you. It's nice to
Okay,
start with
let's believe and pray.
Thank you, Marie.
Our Father and our God, we come before you this morning with thanksgiving, oh God. Lord, we want to thank you for this day that you made that will meet, oh God. I want to thank you, oh God, for each one of us represented here, oh my Father. Lord, I want to put our speaker in front of you, oh Lord, that you give our words of wisdom, guide her, and that, Lord, you will give us also understanding as she teaches us through, oh my Father. Lord, this day we put it before you that, Lord, you're going to guide us in everything and every interaction we are going to have, oh my Father. Lord, open our minds, oh my Father, so that when we come in, we don't go out the same, oh my Father. Bless each one of us in a special way. Protect us from this coronavirus, oh my Father, together with our families, oh God. Protect our countries, oh my Father. Give our leaders wisdom as they go around this pandemic, oh my Father. I want to pray, trusting that you've heard our prayer in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you for just remembering many things that we need to be grateful for and also ask God for intervention. Yeah, great. So for those who were not here yesterday, we'll do a recap for you. That's how we roll, and that's it's a show of kindness and also a show of appreciation that you could join us today. And the ones who were here yesterday, a warm welcome again. And what we're going to do is a recap just to give us reflection back to what we learned, what we took away, or if you went and thought, well, I didn't really get what that was all about, you have the opportunity to ask questions. And I believe that also the rich notes and the presentation, the slides will be put on the LMS of ACHRP. So welcome. I don't know whether I should be introducing myself again, but for the ones who are joining us today, my name is Catherine Wamwangi. I'm a HR practitioner. On top of that, I'm an executive coach, certified executive coach. I partner with ACHRP because I'm passionate about training, exchanging ideas with people of the same mind. And when I look at the participants here, my seniors, my peers, my juniors, you know, we are all here to learn. When I put the number of years of experience that all of us put together, could be like 1,000 years of experience. So we're in the right place at the right time. We'll make good of our time. I think that's the most important thing. And then we can go out sharpened and better knowledgeable. And like Dan said yesterday, you'll be also very happy. Like it's a revision to your, if you're doing a CHRP, CHRP, you'll be so happy to know that this is one of the units, manpower planning. I don't know in which, I can't remember which unit it is under. It is under?
This is topic 3.
Yeah.
Of employee resourcing.
Employee resourcing, yes, yeah. Topic number 3. So you have all the notes. You're well on your way to passing. That's the most important thing, yeah. And when you meet me at the college, which I lecture as well, you will be. I will either be privileged to take you through the coaching classes as well, the coaching unit, CHRP 19B. Great. Recap of yesterday. Let's have a real good recap of yesterday. What is manpower planning? What are some of the importance of manpower planning? Objectives of manpower planning? Things that we did yesterday. Yes.
Molim, I wanted to say the following.
Yeah.
That after every or during every or any presentation, that we usually do a recording and upload the video immediately after the training on the LMS. So yesterday's training has already been uploaded. So for those who missed yesterday's training, if you log into achlp.org, you go to my courses, view presentation, you'll be able to see YouTube video for day one. So all that we went through is there. The same case, today's training is being recorded, so one would not miss anything. So even as we do the recap, it is also important to make the participants, that I alert the participants that for future reference purposes, you can always go back to, you log into your portal, your notes are there.
Thank you,
The
Dan,
PowerPoint-
for...
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Dan, for emphasizing that the notes are there live. In fact, right now I can see the recording going on, so that's good. Yeah. So let's have a good recap of yesterday. We had a great time, people sharing experiences, meaning and definition of manpower planning. From the top of your head, it doesn't have to have the dictionary or the word for word definition. Steps in manpower planning, the process of manpower planning. So just give us a highlight of your takeaways for yesterday and what are your expectations for today. Anyone, feel free to unmute yourself. Anyone, please unmute yourself.
Good morning. Steps in manpower planning. We talked yesterday about forecasting, developing, and controlling.
Great, yeah. Extremely important. Forecasting, like the, focus. Thank you, Jane. Developing and controlling, yeah. Very important steps. Anything else that someone took away? Recap of yesterday?
Yeah, we talked about strategy. That strategy is very important before you can even start your manpower planning, and how can we use the strategy to be able to do the manpower planning. Then we also went through the process of manpower planning. And we talked about outsourcing and other areas that are important during the process.
Very true. That's true. Thank you. Around, if we don't understand our organization strategy, it will be very difficult for us to be able to take the organization through the process of manpower planning. We'll just be looking and saying, oh, okay, fine, this is happening. How many people do we need? Just a feeling. And we say that manpower planning is a science, is an art for us to be able to adequately have the right talent at the right place in the organization. Thank you. Someone else? Someone else? Someone else? How many things that we discussed? Anything else that you took away that was a key highlight for you? Key highlights from yesterday?
Hello, morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Salama. One of the key takeaways from the session was that HR should ease and ideally should be at the core of decision making for the organization. And other than the relevance aspect of things, it is HR that should be included in the strategy and implementation of any personnel on site. The other bit is that the other takeout was adapting and relearning in regards to alignment to technology, and also adapting new ways of operations from a human resource point of view. Those are my takeaways.
Exactly. Thank you. That we need to change with the times. Very important. We also had a big. It was nice for us to know that we really are the right hand person to the CEO in terms of really projecting what manpower planning will be for the organization. You being very close to the CEO or to the executive team, guiding them and also understanding their language and making sure that you can add voice and really a voice around what kind of talent will we need, or what kind of talent do we need to upskill our competencies right within the organization? Do we need to focus on other areas? And today we'll look at succession planning, we look at jobs and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you, Polycarp. Someone else? Can you see my screen, everyone, before I put it on SlideShare? Anyone else? Great takeaways yesterday? I hope if your office is too far away from the CEO, I hope if your office is too far from the CEO, you have started thinking of how to, move it close over there to him and stuff like that. Yeah. Someone else? Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. So the objectives, the importance of manpower planning, the process of manpower planning, the HR, I think this was really important, the process of manpower planning, the organizational objectives, coming from the strategy, you being able to understand that, and the HR need factors that need to be put in place. And then after that, you look at the supply forecast and being able to move whatever. Yeah. So thank you. Someone also factors affecting manpower planning. What are some of the factors that really would affect manpower planning? And the thing is that I think we need to emphasize again, I can't overemphasize the fact that manpower planning is not recruitment. We all agreed yesterday. It's recruitment is one of the processes of course, bringing in manpower into the organization, but it's a process of looking at how many people are needed in the organization, what kind of people are needed in the organization at any particular time within the business context of what the business does, the seasons of the business, where the business is heading. So, and we need to look at the techniques, we need to look at the business. We just need to be abreast, keeping abreast. I mean, when you think about manpower planning, you would for now know that it's the center and everything revolves around it. If we have adequate people, then we are looking at bringing in all these other things together into the center for the functions of HR. You're looking at the culture of the organization, you're looking at your values, you're looking at people's attitude in the organization. At the same time, you're looking at how do you develop these people at your elaborate performance development plans and systems that you have internally, your learning and development needs for the organization, your succession planning for the organization. So a lot revolves around manpower planning. And the moment that you say, well, we'll need, we had that discussion yesterday, if you are to start your business, are you going to start from a known factor that I need 10 people to run this business and you bring in 10? Do your finances allow you to do that, or you would have to do incremental? Would you be able to outsource? Would you be able to do some of the stuff? Will you bring people on piecemeal? So it's the same for your business. And when you look at solidified businesses which are tried and tested, they've stood the test of time, I believe they've done a lot around manpower planning. It's the same thing, even if we want to start our own businesses, or we are thinking that I have this small hustle that I do, how are you thinking around manpower planning? Sometimes we are too shy to think about our own selves as individuals. And even when we go into these kind of forums and networking sessions, I think it's also important to reflect and say, what do I want for myself? Maybe now in the future, I have this running, and what are some of the pointers that I take away? For me, that's what I always think. What have I taken away for myself, for building my career and for building the organization that I work for? But my small business, when I retire, how am I going to make sure that it's ready to move to the next it's ready to move to the next level. And of course, we had all these experiences around organizations which are not ready to look at all the processes and to embrace processes, especially the small SMEs who are individually owned, but they still want to be the best in the market, but again, they don't want to embrace manpower planning. Those are things that you really just have to find a way of navigating yourself if you're working there. Could be difficult circumstances. We're not saying that it's ideal. And sometimes there's no joy working in such areas, in such organizations. But how would you navigate yourself out of these kind of discussions that we have around the table? So important. Okay, great. Anything else that I have forgotten that was so nice or that was not nice for you that I can redeem myself today? Anything? Steps in manpower planning, objectives. So today we want to look at there. So someone tell me what we want to look at today. We said that we would start with the trends. We would start with the trends around in manpower planning. I think that's very important. Expectations for today, apart from the trends, techniques, sorry, not the trends, techniques in manpower planning. Expectations for today, for day 2. So objectives. Anything? Jane, ZP, I'm calling out because those are the people on my panel. I can see them on my panel pretty quickly. Philip, I'm going down now. Catherine, was it Catherine Joroge? Anything? Agree? Moses? Maybe I just want people to unmute and say, yeah.
Okay, you started yesterday on the techniques, and which
Yes.
I found quite interesting. I think
Yeah.
I want to get a grasp of them more than anything else today.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah. The techniques that we can use. Someone else? Thank you, Jane.
I was unable to attend yesterday's class, so
Yeah.
I'm just here to learn more today.
Okay.
Then for the other one, I'll check on the video.
Okay, welcome, CP. Yeah, so we
Thank
give
you.
it's a recap of yesterday, and the notes are there and the recordings are there. Okay, great.
Thank you.
So let's dive right in for today's discussion. What is a technique? Let's discuss what's a technique. Forecasting techniques. Just definition of a technique. Technique. Just as the name implies, Google is your friend then. Let's say it was an open book exam. Here we come. Technique. Then and I analyze very good next. Okay. So technique, a method. So there are many. Anyway, truth be told, let's start from truth be told. How do we focus at our places of work? Or we found a solid organization, a running organization. So it's the tried and tested. Someone has resigned. Let's bring in someone else. Someone has died. We have a vacancy. 3 people are due for retirement. Yeah, we can focus. You know, we know that they'll be going in December. So by then, at least that's the one time that we know that manpower. How do we focus? How do we bring in people in organization? Truth be told, tell me, guys.
Catherine, I think personally for me, this is one thing we don't do very well, where we don't do very well. And sometimes we are caught in the last minute. The way we are organized, I must say we don't do it very well. But we look at, yes, we've tried to look at the strategy. There's some maybe projects we win and we know they will, what we have started to do or what we have endeavored to do in the recent past for projects that we have tended for and we know we will get in a certain period of time.
Yeah.
We already start putting down the roles we will need. We have started advertising for some posts, and when we interview, we tell people this is subject to us winning this project. If we do, then you will get that. So that's the best we've been doing at the moment, but I must confess we've not been doing it very well.
Very well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm sure now you have the opportunity of going back and start doing it very well in a very systematic way. But I think also the fact that you're already looking at winning a certain project, then you start bringing in people early enough and you're packing them and telling them, should this happen, then we'll bring you in. So at least when you win the project, then you already have adequate resources to be able to start doing the work instead of you starting, whoa, now we've won and then we need 100 people to come into this project. Okay, well done. At least you're doing something. Someone else? Someone else?
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, as you said, you're also not doing very well. What we normally do is to look at our exits, as I said yesterday, and we look at them maybe in the 5 years to come, from 1 to 5 years, and then we're able to look at the skills that will be out during that time, and we try to work on ensuring that we are going to acquire those skills. If we don't have people who are prepared to take over those positions so that we can bring from lower levels, we have to start working on training them and looking at the establishment also and seeing where we have the gaps in our establishment after doing the analysis. Yeah.
So analysis is through the kind of skills that you have internally, the competency gaps, and the jobs that are, the kind of business that will be required to be done. Is that the criteria, or is there another criteria that you use?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, good way of at least being there. You have a formula, you have a way, let's put it, you have a process of doing that. Yeah. Someone else? Someone else? An example of what you do in the organization. Are you doing it, or you just told, well, people have landed from the night bus, they are there, and you have to employ them. They have come. After all, you said you have five vacancies, so they were already filled by the time you even looked behind. They all came with the night bus from different directions, and here they are. Voila. Anyone?
I'd like to share. So for me, I come from the hospitality background, and our business is very seasonal. We already know which seasons are high for us and which ones are low. So part of our planning for manpower is determined by the seasonality of the business. So if we know that August is a busy period, then we plan to ramp up our manpower at that time.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and just to help in all areas of the business, from waitresses, is that the acceptable term? I see like, things, job titles change all the time, from waitresses. So my question, let me ask you, and please enlighten us, maybe people would want to, whatever. So where do you get this resource from? Are they tried and tested, or you go somewhere to an institution and say, I will need 20 waitresses at the beginning of August?
Yes, for the seasonal stuff, we make a lot of connections and interactions with the schools. Yes.
Okay, with the schools. So what are some of the challenges? Because I'm waiting from Utalii College of Voi, Voi Amboseli Catering College to be called by Caroline Restaurant. I'm calling it Caroline because I can see it's Caroline speaking. How do you make sure that they get your values within a week, that they understand the job, they understand the principles of the job? This is how I carry a tray, I serve from the left, I set the table like this. But how do you make sure that their values are based on the values of your organization? You know, because sometimes I go to a restaurant and I know, oh, these people have just come in 2 days ago. They've just been given an ill-fitting uniform. Sorry, Carol, you know, that happens. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Well, so if we already know that we'll need them in August, so we start the engagement early, let's say a month early. So we take them through a vigorous orientation program. And also, as you said, just for them to also embrace the values and the culture of the organization and the style of how the operations run, because different hotels have, you know, different styles of how they run. So we do that well in advance, such that by the time we are putting them in front of a guest, they are already prepared to serve that guest in accordance with the standard operating procedures of the organization.
Yeah, okay. I'm happy you've said about the SOP. So you already have that outlined and you can be able just to take them through. And a few days also calls for a big difference in terms of them being able to get into that space and be able to perform. Someone was before Carol? Take the last one, yeah. Someone else? I think someone else was also trying to chime in. Someone else? So I must also say that allude to what everyone has said. It's not perfect at my place of work. And one of the things is that we took it upon ourselves to really to look at manpower planning as one of the key strategies of moving the business to the next level. So it actually became it became the battle of the Titan. And why I say I'm so passionate about manpower planning is because of how we claw each other's eyes out, battling for positions in the organization. So in totality, we have a very simplified strategy that anybody can understand. You can, if you met a potential investor and say, what do you do? And you're able to say it in 3 minutes with clarity, with passion. It's part of the DNA. So we started from there. And we say that if the CEO asks you to go and meet the investor downstairs, to bring them upstairs to his office, the time you spend in the lift, in the elevator, you'll be able to pitch it already before. And then the only thing he would be going to do is sign off the deal in the office, from whatever, whether you are the lowest, from the lowest cadre to the highest cadre. So that took time, you know. And one of the things that we really ring-fenced around it was the values and the culture of the organization. Took time and all those things that we all do anyway. So after that, we felt that we had the position and the now to move it to the next level. And what we did was all those things we talked about, a survey going out, you know, reminders when you put on your laptop, you know, it's telling you what we stand for, what we do, how we project to grow in the next 10 years and stuff like that. And then from that basis, we knew that if we were to grow by this percentage, this is where the business is going to go. These are the new products. This is what the salespeople have in their pipeline. We now started doing the analysis around projecting what kind of people we need in the organization. How many people will be required in another 2 years and 5 years? So a lot of work goes into it, I must say. But the most I guess, fun and annoying part is when people say, I need 25 heads, okay, for example. This year we were approved 25 heads by the board. We wanted 28 heads, but when they looked at it critically, because they're also very critical around what it is, what does that mean, the 3 heads well, we felt that we needed them, but anyway, we got 25 heads. And of course, now the 25 heads, we've always seen that they go to the primary operations of the business. And of course, now why I say it's a battle of the Titan is people say, well, we are the centerfold of the business, we are the heart of the business, so we deserve more heads. I mean, when you start from that premise, it doesn't work. So we have that, analysis. What will this talent come to do? These 10 positions that you want for this department, what will they be coming to do? And then after that, forecasting around our P&L and the money that we're projecting to make as revenue. When will this head be required? When is it critical? Can it come in Q3? Can it come in Q4? And then after that, when we have all that, then we take it back as HR and say, how do we start recruiting? This head looks like the people that we think that will come from this, that will be required to work in this position, will require about 3 months notice. There are some positions anyway, senior positions, 3 months notice. So we start working backwards to give ourselves time. And then we have this Gantt chart of saying, where are we at in bringing in talent in the organization? Just focusing on your Gantt chart and saying, I'm on green, I'm within the timelines. If it starts going amber, now we start whatever. When it's red, we are in the ICU, and all of us knows that there goes our bonus, poor us, So what I'm trying to say, that we need to be very precise around forecasting around manpower. We also need to understand in the simplest form, the strategy, where we are going, what kind of business leads do we have, what are the salespeople saying in the pipeline, what do we need, and stuff like that. So it's not perfect. We keep trying to perfect it from the beginning so that is done. And we hope there's always pressure in the business. People will always want more people. Me, I even want someone to come and just fan me in the morning. Catherine, that meeting was hot. Who is the person to fan me? And then I remember it's only me who can fan myself and move on. So I think when we start looking at manpower planning, it's a whole array of science and the art that goes around it. So I can attest to the challenges. I can attest to what people have said. Okay. So let's look at some of the techniques. We try to simplify it as much as possible, and also give a good example. So when you go back, because if you don't take anything else, take the techniques that you can use around manpower planning. And the only way you're able to do that is understanding the business, and also at the same time, looking at the future of your business and what it means, together with the figures or the money that comes in. So ratio trend analysis, someone read for us, please. And I remember someone said yesterday, I think this is what they use. One of the trends, the simplest of trends, is ratio trend analysis. So here comes your statistics class, whoever like their statistics professor. They all tend to be professors. How come? They're well read. Ratio trend analysis, someone read for us, unmute yourself.
Hello, Catherine.
Hello.
I can read that.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, ratio trend analysis. The value of a trend analysis depends on the operational factor selected. For example, sales history tracked against employment levels may tell HR it needs 15 workers for every shillings 25,000 in sales. When the strategic plan calls for weekly sales of shillings 50,000 during the holiday shopping season, HR can predict a 30 employee staffing requirement. For hotels, the number of rooms a maid can clean per day be an appropriate factor for housekeeping staff projections. At 10 rooms per day, a 100-room hotel needs 10 housekeepers when fully booked, but only 5 during the slow season when each operates at half capacity.
We are together, isn't it? Makes a lot of sense. Just like Caroline said, the trend analysis shows the operational factor, how we operate at any given time and any given season of our business. Some businesses, of course, will just be flat, and I mean flat. I implement. I mean that maybe you provide services. Let's say like the NGO, we have a 5-year project that we are programming, let's say in the area of health, education, whatever it is. The donor has already projected for us to have an impact in the society. It will need us to work for 5 years to implement this project so that it's sustainable. By the time we are leaving, people have already understood it, people have already embraced it, and we're able to whatever. So you see, from the very beginning, they've already projected 5 years. So within those 5 years, how many people will we need? Just like what Jane had alluded to around, I need to look for money. I go out to program, it will take me 5 years. Within these 5 years, I will need 50 people maybe to work on this project. Then after that, within those 5 years, what's going to happen? Some people leave, some people leave, then you can be able to replace the people that goes there. So there are some businesses that you already know that you will need this number of people, but there are some businesses which are seasonal, or some people who just get a windfall and something really, you try this product, it's within one of the things that we do, it's really well received by the market. What does that mean? We need to quickly regroup and refocus on our manpower. It also means that even when we are developing new products in the market, we need to have that discussion around manpower planning. What is the ratio of this product? Who will work on it? How many people will be required to sell it? And then we don't develop the product, develop, it goes to the market, and then we realize, oh my gosh, we need 10 people. And these 10 people are rare skill, and customers are waiting online to receive it. That's how products fail to get to the market and really live to the length of time that you need them to live. So it's important for us to understand that the business that we do is a projection of what needs to be done. So very, very easy around seasonal, like the hotel. Let's take it a hotel or agriculture or even FMCG, where we know there's a peak of a certain product. So it means that when there's a peak, it means that we need to increase people. So you have that trend already. And that trend will be based on the fact that there are seasons and you already understand those seasons. When your customers are whatever, let's even take the maybe we're all parents here. When schools are about to open, what happens? Uniform shops, bookshops, isn't it? Increase sales, that's a season. Christmas is here, Eid is here, religious holidays here. The restaurants will increase more people, hotels will increase more people, buses, transport, the transport industry will increase more vehicles and more whatever. So you already have that trend. That trend, what does it also mean for your business? You're also projecting that you will make in more money, but also at the same time, you're also saying that I will need more people, but also at the same time, you want to bag the most profit that you can be able to do that. Yeah. Are you able to do that? Are you in a position to do ratio trend analysis for your business? Do you understand the operational factors and select them and go and say, we have seen this trend and we're able to work backwards. So it's the operations, the money, and the number of people that will be required. Any question? Any question? Someone who's using ratio trend analysis? Anyone? Or you've been using it and so voila, this is what I have been doing, even without knowing. This is what we have been doing. But you can go back now with conviction and with a science behind it. Anyone? And precisely focus your manpower requirements. Anyone? Any comments there? Yes.
Let me ask. In the event whereby we have these organizations that are established and work is running as normal, and when we were working on the structures, The positions that were established are the positions that are able to handle those assignments now and be able to produce, for us to be able to achieve our productivity and accomplishing actually the assignments. Now, when we are doing the ratio trend analysis, in our scenarios, can we consider now the established positions against the current strength to get now the surplus or the deficits?
Okay, so let me understand and let's unpack it. So you put up a new structure and you have, let's say, 100 positions.
Yeah.
You have 100 positions and all those 100 positions have already been assigned to individuals.
Yes.
And all those 100 positions adequately meets the demands of the business to be able to execute the business.
Yeah.
Okay. And your strategy, are you planning to grow? We all plan to grow, isn't it? We all plan to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all plan to grow. So the question is, your question is that if these 100 people will meet the demands of the business in the future, or you need to look whether you need more people to bring into the business in the future as you grow.
My issue is, now I'm doing the planning now currently.
Okay.
And when we're establishing the positions, those positions were adequate.
Okay.
And the staffing was also adequate because all the positions were filled. In the event now that we have the exits, or we are foreseen to the exits may be like the normal retirements in the next 1 year.
Yeah.
Now I want to do my plans, you see.
I get what you mean.
Okay, in the next 10 years, I'll not be having 10 people or 15, or the next 1 year, 10 people or 15 people.
Okay.
And this is a requirement because unlike now, the sales and the housekeeping, this is a little bit different scenario.
Okay, yeah. Anyone who would like to answer that before I also give in my input? Anyone? How does she plan for her exits? Anyone who'd like to answer? Let's do anyone with some insights around exits. Looks straightforward. What would you do if you're in Catherine's shoes? Is it Catherine? Is it Njoroge? Yeah. Anyone? Okay, so I think the easiest of it all is that you already have adequate manpower in your organization. Then the very sure one that you can be able to plan for and forecast for is retirements, whatever age your retirement is. And you go to your data and see that in this year, 2021, I have 2 people due for retirement. And when are they retiring? They are retiring in June and another one in September. You start doing your forecast and say, we need to replace for this position and we need to replace for this position. This person will be exiting the business at this time. And then you come and say, is this, and that's what we'll discuss later, around, let's not just look at the traditional way of saying that someone has left, someone has to come in. Can you reorganize that the business really need that position? Is that position adequately provided for in your org structure to be able to support the business objectives? Do you have an opportunity then to either say, we no longer require this position, so we are doing away with it when someone leaves, or do we have an opportunity to increase it in another level and either look internally and say this person is ready, we'll be promoting them, or the other one is we have to recruit from outside. So that's what I keep on saying, is that when someone leaves, whether they resign, they die, they retire on medical grounds, whatever happens, is that have a look at that, whatever. And for you to be able to do that is adequately have those discussions beforehand. Don't just challenge the line managers, challenge the head of department and say, this position will be coming up in June. That calls for good manpower planning. What do you think about it? Do we really need it as a business? Would you like to restructure it? And of course, restructuring, if you're going to restructure it, it becomes a higher grade, for example. Do we have the budget to be able to do that? Are we looking at internally? So that whatever. So the second part would be, our business is projected to grow by 10%. Some of the operations will be like this. So if already we have a good structure, what does it mean for growth of our business? Because you've said, yes, the business needs to be growing. So that is when we come and say, what will growth, how do we define growth, and how many people will be required to adequately support that growth? Are we together? Have I answered you?
In fact, it brings me back to the issues where you are talking about the challenges of manpower planning also, where you will get this resistance also from the line managers.
The line managers, yeah. So let's choose to challenge, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. So let's choose to challenge from just the traditional way. Someone has left, someone brings in, so do we reach whatever. And sometimes you even let them know, can you have the opportunity, where I keep on saying, have the opportunity to restructure this position for the organization, for your department. Show them the way they win and the way they be the shining stars, and they'll be able to get to the brownie points, like I like to call it. Anybody else? A question, a concern before we go to the next technique? Are you using it? Okay. Any question? Thank you. So someone read for us Delphi technique. Unmute yourself, read through. And you can stop at the Delphi technique by step-to-step guide. Please, someone read for us.
Okay, let me read.
Yeah.
This is Grace. Delphi technique. Delphi is a structured approach for reaching a consensus judgment among experts about future developments in any area that might affect a business. For example, a firm's future demand for labor. In the Delphi technique, a panel of relevant people is chosen to address an issue. The Delphi process aims to determine the extent to which experts or lay people agree about a given issue, and with each other, and in areas where they disagree, achieve a consensus opinion. Delphi technique is usually conducted through questionnaires.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we a very good technique in terms of looking at future developments area of the business. Come and say this is what it is, but what does that mean for us? Future of the business, we discuss, and then we choose someone who's the facilitator. So choose someone who will facilitate this process. The only difference between Delphi's technique and brainstorming, which is another technique that you can use, is it is administered through questionnaires. That's the only thing that you have to remember. So these questionnaires, we have a set of questions. The facilitator sets out a set of questions, and then you are all experts. Let's say drawn from different departments. You come in and sit down, and you all answer the questionnaires, their set of questions. Then after that, the facilitator comes and puts all those the answers together. They are shown up, and everybody starts thinking, and you don't know who put in which questionnaire. Every questionnaire, you don't have to put your name or anything. So you see a pattern emerging. The business is going to grow. We anticipate the business to grow. We anticipate this division is going to do this, and it's expected to do this. So there's a pattern that emerges. Then after that comes together another set of questions, narrowing down from the from the responses that were given by the experts. And then after that, keep narrowing it down, round 1, round 2, round 3. And then after that, we act on the findings and come and say, we seem to be talking in one line now, that this is all of us are agreeing on this, that based on this analysis, based on all the answers that we have been answering and narrowing down further on the questions and answering those questions, a trend has emerged. It has emerged that X, Y, Z, and that is the decision that we make. So it is, it's rigorous, I must say. It needs people who are very objective and an open mind. It is time consuming as well. But the only thing is that the saving grace around it is that I do not know who's answering who said what and who did not say what and whatever. All what we know is that we need to be able to support the business adequately. And me as an expert, I want the best for the business. Then after that, we come to a conclusion. So remember that we use questionnaires. There is a facilitator, there are experts, there's a group of questions. The answers are projected. We go to the second round using those, whatever. We keep narrowing it down until we come to a consensus of what needs to be done. Yeah, very easy, very fancy, I must say, very time consuming. Anybody who has used this in the organization? Would it work in your organization? Anybody? Anybody? I haven't used it personally, but we have a lot of brainstorming.
Good morning.
Morning.
For our organization, the Delphi technique might be a bit of a challenge because of the time consuming
aspect.
Yes, and the back and forth about they usually perceive manpower planning as a simple issue. Okay.
Yeah.
I want 10 people, get me 10. All right. So we are in an environment like that. It becomes difficult to have regular sit downs so that you source people's opinions about what they need and how they can be gotten. Usually by the time the decision to get the 10 people has arrived, almost as though it is final. Your work is basically just to facilitate. Yeah.
They're the people who come with the bus, as we said, from different corners of the country. I'm sorry. Yes. So you don't question why 10, why not 8, why not 15? How did they arrive at the 10?
Like I mentioned yesterday, we had started using regression analysis.
Yes.
And the part of the reason why we had started to use it was because we wanted to actually give the management data that supports the question why.
Yeah.
We can see in for 6 weeks, you used on average of, let's say, 60 people to achieve a productivity of 94%. Why for these 2 weeks, we can see your numbers have risen from 66 to 104. What is happening there, and the output is still the same.
Very true.
So
very
true. That's
Yeah.
part of now what we are using, like regression analysis.
Yeah.
To get that data.
Yeah.
So that now come up with what we would call a multivariate equation.
Yeah.
To achieve baseline production, these are the numbers that you actually need. If you wanted to achieve production of 100%, this now you change the variables so that you can now get this 100% output.
Very good.
But that's why the Delphi technique would be a bit of a challenge for us, because it is time consuming.
Time consuming, yeah. And how do you feel when 100 people the 10 people are brought and you have to hire or complete the hiring process, because then all what you would be doing is open their file, welcome them, do onboarding and stuff like that, and you are not involved?
For most of the time, when these people are coming, we're not coming on contract terms.
Okay. Yes.
So that also gives us time to collect the data that we need.
Yeah.
To validate this decision or invalidate it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And has the regression technique been embraced? Are you finding that you have some good traction? There is acceptance of it?
We are getting. Originally, the biggest challenge was getting the data.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now we are getting the data.
Yeah.
So that's a step in the right direction.
In the right direction. Yes. Very true. Yeah. Okay.
For a further 2 months.
Yeah.
So that you can now have a pattern that you can work with.
Yeah.
And then you now come up with the equations that will now form the baseline.
Yeah.
For the manpower that is required.
Yeah. Can I ask which industry are you in? Are you in manufacturing?
I'm in personally. I'm in outsourcing.
Okay.
In HR outsourcing.
Yeah.
So my clients are spread all over. So you have manufacturing.
Okay.
One in banking.
Okay.
And
Yeah. People in whatever, yeah. Okay. And of course, all these techniques can be used in any industry. There's no industry that you cannot use all these techniques of manpower planning. So that's one thing that we need to also be aware of, that we can use all this here. Anybody else? Thank you. You'll give us real practical examples in regression analysis. It's soon coming up. Anybody else? Delphi technique, have you used it? Is it possible to use it? Do you see the advantages of using it? To need people who are very objective, people who really want to support the business. Anybody else? Okay. So managerial judgments. Okay, let's someone who can read it for us, please. Unmute yourself. Managerial judgments technique.
I can read.
Thank you.
Managerial judgments. Though the term managerial judgment appears broad in scope, it essentially refers to the process of managerial decision-making, or a manager's ability to use judgment to solve problems. As leaders of the workplace, managers are expected to make judgment calls ranging in scope and effect from minor to game-changing. Decision-making is one of the core functions of management, and it is actually a very scientific function with a well-defined decision-making process. There are various types of decisions the managers have to take in the day-to-day functioning of the firm.
Okay. Managerial decision judgments, and half the time, what do employees say? After all, management has already made their decision. Tell me about that. Management always makes the decision. After all, they've already made it. What do we know about this? But it's a very important manpower planning technique. Tell me why. Let's discuss this. When EXCO is meeting, what did they say? What are they going to say today? After all, they make that decision and we are not involved. Tell me about it, managerial judgments. What people call managers. And the core functions of management. Let's go, guys.
Catherine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think I hadn't muted myself, and it came to my mind because at times when we have the board sitting, we find ourselves in probably hanging on the balance because we're not sure what major decisions will be made during those meetings. But also as managers, we're given an opportunity to make some calls in our respective departments that will help improve the processes. I work in manufacturing, and this happens a lot. We do not entirely rely on the top management decisions, but we're also given an opportunity to make calls that will help improve our processes in different departments. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, true. So sometimes it requires, and when we use this technique, we have to be extremely open to scrutiny, to criticism, and also to be able to take full responsibility of making this decision. And we need also to have an open door policy to be asked, so why did you make this decision? How did you arrive at it? And be able to communicate after that. I think that's the most important thing. So if you have that kind of culture, you're able to make managerial judgment, manpower planning decisions, and they will almost be right because you have discussed through them, you have the right to do it, and you will know that is the best thing for the organization. That's not to say that all the time you need to use managerial judgments. And many a times is when smaller firms or individual businesses use managerial judgments to do manpower planning. However, at high level positions, let's say we are growing, we have the ones who use chief, let's say the CEO, COO, CCO, CMO, CHRO, all those decisions. Sometimes it comes time where the ExCo sits and says, it is time, given the way the business is going, it is time for us to bring in a chief operating officer or a chief business development officer. And those are some of and it's brainstormed. It goes through the rigorous process. Why do we need to do this? Are we ready for this? What will they come to do? What kind of value will they be bringing to the organization? What will they be expected to deliver? And those the higher positions are really carved out using managerial judgment, manpower forecasting kind of way, and it is left at that level. Even at directors level, we need to do that. So, but it's not because, well, it's the blue-eyed boys club and come and say, Catherine has been a director for a long time, and I think we need to bring her to this club of ours. I think we can they even harsh voices, when people are scheming, their voices also change, I think it is time for that, whatever. It is a natural progression. You start thinking about it and say, let's look at different aspects of the business. Let's understand it. Give me more time to think about it. People challenge it, and it's not a decision that the CEO comes and says, or the board chair, please carve out a position and call it and give it to this person. No, it is informed by the business. Okay. Anyone who has used managerial judgment to forecast? Or those are the ones that come straight from the oven and say, voila, a decision has been made. Please bring in 10 people. I mean, 2 people for these positions, senior positions or whatever. And you are all like, when did that start happening? And one of these, it has a gut feeling around, we need it now. It is appropriate for it to be brought in. And everybody is, it was time. In fact, it was time. We wonder how we didn't, how we worked and we were able to sail through with this position. Anyone add voice or we feel bullied around it?
Okay, Catherine, let me speak on what I've seen. I work for a faith-based organization, specifically a church. We too have also been affected. And so we've had a lot of managerial judgments, especially where manpower is involved, planning is involved, because at times you realize now that churches are closed, then we need to find out how many people do we need at a particular church plant or church station, because right now we don't have as much activity as it was before. So dependent on our budget projections and the activities of the church, there will definitely be meetings around this. And you'll actually hear the management, the leadership has decided 1, 2, 3 because of the current situation. So we get to experience that a lot.
A lot, yeah. Wow. And oh wow, faith-based. So the congregants, we are not bringing enough tithe and enough offerings and enough thanksgiving. Ooh.
Please check your last M-Pesa transaction.
Everybody, please check and send Sadaka to the church right now. Do you see how these businesses are also suffering? You know.
Actually,
sorry, Grace.
I know, Mwalimu. There was a situation I know of a church, but this is in the up country, that it was so bad that the priests and some ushers had to go house to house collecting offering. So it's that bad. So please.
Yeah. Preach on grace. Yeah, preach on grace. Yeah, I think it's important. There's humor in everything. I mean, even the churches need to survive. The pastor, in the good books, it says that the levies will be fed by us, you know, so you non-levies, Levites, whatever. So it's important. Please send your whatever. But it's true. Around managerial judgments, and sometimes it can be very off-putting, especially if you are not involved as HR. Anybody else? Anybody else? Managerial judgments?
If I may, my name is Maureen. Very new to this forum.
Yeah.
It's lovely to be here. I think my experience was, I don't know what you call this, but it was more like a power struggle where the managers were actually not let in on the change. And it was like they kind of tried to use the Delphi technique as far as getting information. And then all of a sudden there was a complete overhaul. You know, even those so-called managers were replaced like almost immediately. And it was like a whole new management team that was put in place. It was a bit confusing for everybody because now a new set of rules, a bit of culture, you know, shock, if I should say, because now things need to change. So it was, as you said, quite off-putting because you're used to certain ways of doing things, and all of a sudden you have absolutely no power, no responsibility, and you're thrown out in the cold, and a whole new, you know, set of managerial team has come in. Although this decision was arrived at by, you know, the C-suite, so to speak. So it was quite scary because even you as a manager or you know, somebody wanting to be in the management team, you don't really think or feel as though you're part of the decision-making process. So obviously, quite as you said, off-putting, if I may say so.
Is it a brand new people came in, or the
absolutely
people?
Brand new?
Oh, absolutely brand new.
It was almost a feeling of hostile takeover.
Oh,
yeah.
New broom sweeps clean.
Completely.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So you have to work on the morale. You remember where yesterday we said that morale plays a big part in making sure that people stay. Your manpower planning. Those are some of the things that really people need to look into. And unfortunately, we also see a lot of managerial judgment around a CEO who comes in and says, well, I would like to reposition my team, you know, and look at it and maybe bring in new people, and you're thinking, oh, so how do we support you? So of course they would like to work with people who maybe they know, they can trust, but it's very difficult, and that's a different topic altogether around a CEO coming in and saying, well, I want people that I know, give me the opportunity to bring in new people, and people are thinking, well, but we have been here, you're just part of us, you've just gotten a job like anybody else, you've got more responsibilities around running this organization, but we are here to support you. And we know that that happens, and it either kills the morale of the entire organization, or people start leaving, or people just have a don't care attitude, and that's very unfortunate that would happen. So it's important, and that's why we say the managerial judgment technique, if you're going to use that, you must be open to criticism, you must be open to answering the hard questions, you must have an open door policy, and you almost feel that the business is ready for that position. It doesn't mean that you upset, you remove someone else and you put in someone else. So yeah, very difficult. Well, organizations are hard, you know, they're hard. By the end of the day, every day, please make sure that you pat yourself at the back and say, I survived another day. I survived another day. You know, I'm ready for another day. Great. So types of decision making, we know that managerial decisions, they're strategic decisions that really are high level, impact the organization at that very high level in terms of brand visibility, the products that we offer, the objectives that whatever your employee value proposition stands at the strategic decision stage, decision pyramid, the tactical decisions, you know, every day what we are doing, and the operational decisions, you know. So those, and every level has who can make decisions at every level, you know, and you know that also if you use systems, you have the rights, up to these rights, to be able to use the system. You can only approve up to this level. In your own business, you can sign checks up to this level, you know. So decisions, the higher the position that you have in the organization, the higher decisions that you will be making. And one of the things that as HR, we need to equip managers with decision-making techniques and being responsible for the decisions that they make. There is nothing more annoying working with managers or with people who cannot make a decision. We agree? People who, oh, I don't want to make a decision, I don't know how I will look, you know, I'm not ready to make this decision. Then you're wondering, so why are you sitting in this position, you know? But how do we help them make decisions? How do we help them get ready? It's for them, it's by us making sure that they understand the business, they understand the objectives of their job, they are aligned to the decisions that we are making, and they can also say, this is not a good decision, why don't we think of something else? Okay, yeah, great. Any question there? Any question there? Okay, great. So work study techniques, another way of manpower forecasting. Someone can read for us. Unmute yourself. Someone unmute yourself.
Work study techniques. Work study techniques. This technique is also known as workload analysis. This technique is suitable where the estimated workload is easily measurable. Thus, demand of human resource is forecasted on the best of estimation, total production and contribution of each employee in the production, each unit item, in producing each unit item. What are the basic steps of work study? They are as following. Select the task to be studied, record by collecting data at source and direct observation, examine by challenging the purpose, place, sequence, and method of work, develop new methods drawing on contribution of those concerned, evaluate, define, install, maintain. Okay. Yeah. If works, that's it. Okay, over.
Yeah. So thanks, Jen. So work study technique, where do you think it would be appropriate to use work study technique so that you focus the manpower that you need in the organization, just as defined on the screen? And have you used it before? We say that anyway, all these techniques can be used in any industry. Some would be more appropriate and easier and you'd be able to have a fantastic manpower planning process in your organization. For example, easily measurable. We look, work study, you know, it's just like the name implies. We look at a job, how this job is being performed. For example, how can you, which jobs can be easily evaluated, quantifiable? For example, take someone in working in EPZ, a tailor. Do we call them tailors, seamstresses, designers? What do we call them? Fancy names. Give me the latest names that we call them. You know, they are supposed to make 100 masks per day, or maybe 50 pairs of jeans per day, you know, and everybody has a part to play. There's a person who cuts, there's a person who stitches, there's a person who presses, you know. So let's take a scenario like that and see how anyone can continue with that conversation. I've just given an example, a good example around work study techniques, looking, you know, just looking of how this person does the work. For example, so let's say the process of making a shirt, and you have all these patterns, you know, I think they cut with patterns or something like that. A design of this shirt or this garment or whatever it is. How about when you observe them, they take 15 minutes to cut one shirt so that they can pass it on to the next person who will be stitching the shirt and making it into a complete garment. If they cut just one, how about them placing two fabrics on each other, and then they can cut two shirts instead of one shirt? It will cut down the time, isn't it? So it's just observing and making better use of how they do the work, you know, in terms of how can we improve it. And of course, you're not saying, oh, you are discussing with them and say, perhaps if we do this, what would be the result? You might do it and it doesn't work, and maybe you have to go back and say it didn't work, but if we do this, voila, actually this can work. And if if work study results in cutting down the time of performing a certain activity by 20%, merely as a result of rearranging the sequence or simplifying the method of operation, and without additional expenditure, then productivity will go up by a corresponding value that is 20%. It's like for like. If we cut down, what process can we cut in HR? For example, performing a certain task. Let's talk about our own function, our own things that are practical for us. For example, what process can we cut? Anything? What do we think we can cut? Or it's not quantifiable, it's not possible? There's nothing that we can cut in HR, anyone? That corresponds with, if I do this, a certain activity, cutting down, performing this, it can come to this. How about automating? If we automate the leave procedure, instead of us using manual procedure and people filling in leave forms, well, that's a very old example, because most of the people now, most of the organizations use online systems to apply for leave and stuff like that. You know, it cuts down significantly, and you can be able to do something else with that time. You know, the leave is computed, you can run reports and stuff like that. I think automation is a very good example in terms of cutting down lead times, in terms of work that can be done, and that should correlate and correspond with the productivity and whatever, significantly improve the bottom line. Okay, anybody who would like to, who's using work study techniques or who has used work study techniques?
Just a minute. I just wanted to comment about something about that automation that you discussed. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, yeah, please.
Yes, there's an essence of when you look at HR, HR has a lot of things that actually can be computerized, yeah. But the soft HR bit can never be replaced. So if every HR is able to look at repetitive tasks and have them automated, like even people walking into HR department, unless they are coming for soft issues, you just have them automated, even getting there, like a communication tool where someone has a problem and it is easy to just fall back into patterns of solutions that already exist, because most people waste the HR's time, through discussion, through things that are not adding value, and it eats on the HR's time, whereas the HR ought to move to the next level of being a partner, to look at some of these things that they can add value and cut costs. So I think there's a lot of stuff still being practiced today in Kenya that can actually be automated.
Okay. I agree. There's a lot of opportunities to automate in HR. So which are some of the soft things that, remind me the soft things that should be brought to HR?
Say things like counseling. You see, if someone really needs to be cancelled, that can't be replaced by, it has to be a face-to-face issue. That's soft. Disciplinary is obviously face-to-face. When it reaches that point of a disciplinary hearing, it's got to be a face-to-face issue. But the part that can be automated is automated, and only leaves the part that is critical to the face-to-face. So some of these soft things that need humanity, you need to judge as from a human perspective, are the ones I'm referring to as soft.
Question just on that point. When we talk about things like counseling, mental health issues, that HR is definitely integral. It's an integral department. I wonder, do we spend too much time, or should we outsource these functions and thereby leaving more time to actually handle, I don't know, the more important, or not more important, that's not the word, but handle other issues, because I feel like, okay, first of all, things like recruitment can actually be done in terms of automation. That should be easy with the new psychometrics and all the different, and all those different things, we can organize that. But when it comes to things like counseling, I find that a lot of us in HR have a lot more, in our minds at that time, and most likely not in a space to actually tap into that soft space, if you may. And many a times we give almost superficial. So my question is, can we rather outsource these soft skill functions within HR to people who are more qualified, like say counselors, in that sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. Just a question.
Let's open this and just let's stop there and say, what should HR be doing for an organization? Sometimes I wonder, so what should I be doing? Honestly, I've pushed from preparing the board papers I've presented. I have looked into this crystal ball of mine for manpower planning. I have gone and done this. So, and then I'm not a counselor, so go to a counselor. There's the pilot lines, there's the medical scheme, there's the wellness program. Really, what do we do? Remind me what we do, HR? Sorry, sound like so bad if we don't know what. I think it's so pertinent what we are all saying. So what should we be doing? What should we should be strong business partners. I like that word, strong business partners, to line managers, to everybody in the organization. It almost feels like at the end of the day, you get what should we be doing? Please remind me. Anyone?
Okay, yeah, can I react to that? First and foremost, from my sister, the one who shared about outsourcing, counseling, and what have you. You must know your people. There is a level that you can outsource. You see, like there's a certain bit that, like for mental health, that you can't do because you are not a medic. But for you to be able to recommend, you need to be part of the solution. You need to have understood it to some level. So when you totally outsource the system, then you lose touch with that HR part. So you will lose understanding that person and also giving an objective view of their circumstances. So even outsourcing has its limit. There is a part that you only outsource but remain in charge. And that is the bit that probably you're coming in with. Then what should HR be doing, I say? Because for you to remain relevant, you need to account for each and every manpower, in the sense that you understand what is going on. Like mental health cases, there is a bit that is psychology, and there is that is extreme. It is actually needing a psychiatrist. So you need to understand up to that level. Where I refer this one to an expert, it's because I've gotten to a point where everything that I can do as a HR now needs an expert in this particular field, but you are still in charge. You understand the problem up to where it is. So we should look at outsourcing with a lens, not to lose, not to make it dotted line, to still remain complete, that we need to still remain in charge, because that's the only time that we can become the HR business partner, by not letting go completely.
Not letting go completely, looking at outsourcing with a lens, you still have a foothold of it, and making sure that you are capable of still being in the picture and you understand what's happening there. Someone else, remind us what we are supposed to be doing in HR, because we do all these things.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. I concur with the leader just spoken, that we are supposed to be felt as HR. We're supposed to address most of the issues. I wouldn't go for outsourcing. Outsourcing should just be the last resolution. Just like what we talked about yesterday. Some issues that you need to increase efficiency. Soft skills, like even recruitment, as much as we want to automate it, there's still a level of it that needs us, our hands-on, so it's not completely automated. Areas like not only recruitment, most of the areas, even the counseling, like in our area, there are issues we have to address as HR. Unless your people cannot completely handle it, that's when we would go for option number 2. And that is somebody that has been approved by the institution. That is only when the issue is beyond our levels, when we can take it now to an outsider. But I believe we are supposed to be felt as HR, deal with issues hands-on. Areas like communication of policies, yes, we can actually automate them, make sure that all these policies reach people, but at the end of the day, we are still needed to communicate and make people understand. So I think at the end of the day, we have to play our part.
Okay. Someone else? Last person? What do we do? What are we supposed to be doing to add value, to make sure that we are strategic? We've talked about this so many years. Sometimes I tend to wonder, and sometimes anyone?
On a light note, I think we're supposed to do everything. And on top of that, We are still asked, so what does HR really do? What is the value of HR to the firm?
Yeah. Then we lost you.
I'm saying after we've done everything and been everybody's counselor and been HR partners, we still get the question where people go to the boardroom and ask, what is the value of HR? What does HR really do? And it's a very difficult question to answer. Over.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so much depending from organization to organization, how much we value HR, what HR means to an organization. I think it's all about people. And if we lose sight of really thinking it's about people, and the people are the ones who drive the business, and for us to be successful, trailblazers ahead of competition, being innovative, being agile, there is the real technical aspect, like what we are discussing today, some of the techniques that you're supposed to be using and thinking through for your business, which technique will work for me in my business, in manpower planning. Is it work study? Is it managerial? Is it ratio trends? Is it regression analysis? And come and think that day and say, I'm looking, I'm thinking, and understand it and say, I found a formula and this is what we need to do, and start selling that. You get what I mean? So there's the strong aspect of you real being a good technical person. If you're saying that we need to restructure this organization, and you've had that, so what are some of the change processes that I can use, change techniques? What does an OD look like? What is a flat structure? How is a metric structure supposed to look like? You know, all that. If I think that we are ready for a job evaluation, what does that mean for us? What kind of what is it going to do for the organization? We need new salary bands. We need new job grades. There's too much. There's too much in a day's work. So when you are very comfortable with the technical aspect of the job, and you start giving it, supporting the line managers as we are supposed to be doing, then it's easy. Then this softer part, I struggle a lot as Catherine, you know. So this softer part, I'm not a counselor, truth be told, and what can we do about counseling? What's the problem? I believe that it's important to listen, and listen to the said and to the unsaid, and then after that try and find solutions. And the thing is that we need to be vulnerable enough to come and say, I do not know. I don't know how to solve this one. We need to come together, we need to brainstorm, and we need to find a solution that is empathetic, that fits the business, and is going to help the person. I think that is important, and look for those solutions. And then, you know, endear yourself to people, let people know that they are here to succeed, let people know that they are here for an objective. This company does not belong to your mom and dad and not for me, you know. And the final line that I also use, I'm also an employee, so let's ride together. And it's never that serious. Well, but it's serious sometimes. So as we have said, it's just finding your space and really making sure that you understand the core function of your business, so in the strategy, so that you're able to support it. It's too much. Anybody with a final remark? Anybody with a final remark? No, I don't know. Anyway, but they can't do without us. They just go knowing that today. They can't do without us. They need us, because we work magic. Great. Anybody? It's difficult to know, but it's yeah. Anyone? Regression analysis. Someone read for us. Agre, are you here? You're the one using regression analysis. It's your time to shine away. Is it Agre?
Okay, let me read it.
Yeah.
Regression analysis is a statistical technique that predicts the level of one variable, the dependent variable, based on the level of another variable, the independent variable.
Mm-hmm.
It is a compensation in a compensation setting, for example, that might be the relationship of executive pay, company size, or company revenue. The dependent variable, the variable that depends on other factors that are measured. These variables are expected to change as a result of an experimental manipulation or of the independent variable or variables. It is the presumed effect. The independent variable, the variable that is stable and unaffected by the other variables. You are trying to, by the other variables you are trying to measure. It refers to the condition of an experiment that is systematically manipulated by the investigator. It is the presumed cause.
Great, okay. You want to give us an example? Like what you have been trying, you instead of just a gut feeling, we need 10 people, but you're using data, for example, at the workplace?
Yes.
Yeah.
What we wanted to find out was basically if the client was overstaffing or not. And we decided to measure output vis-a-vis the number of people that he has on site, or the people that we have seconded to him. So what we did was, because the production changes on a daily rate, so rather than measuring the actual production volumes, we decided to measure efficiency, meaning what was the target and what was actually achieved, and how many people it took to achieve the output.
Okay.
Yes. So the number of people that the number of staff became like our independent variable, and the productivity or efficiency became the dependent variable. So it is something we have been doing. We have been collecting the data every week, and we will use an application called SPSS to come up with an equation. And that equation will form the baseline of what normal production should look like.
Okay, yeah.
So now, once we have that equation, we will now see how do we tweak this equation so that we can have 100% output, because there are certain sections where he has, let's say 101 or 102 or 103.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
But there are other sections that he has 55%. So we need, what would the ideal situation look like, or what would the numbers be that he needs to have every section producing at 100?
Okay, great.
Yeah, those are the kind of questions that we ask when we are doing the regression analysis.
Yeah, and you have to have a lot of data for you to be able to do it. So thanks, Agre. So we need to, and I know maybe we might not be too, it's not too fancy for us, it's not too easy, it's not too interesting for us, but this is it's regression analysis is one of the most powerful techniques, I mean, a very good technique of manpower planning. So let me just give you another illustration from Agre's, which is your independent variable is constant. It's something that you already know. So we made 10 million shillings in our business this year. So that we already know. Next year, we might say, let's say we project to grow by 10%. So we'll grow by another 110, and the following year and the following year. So use that data to project how much do you think, and the CEO, for example, is paid 100,000 shillings. So you project that to see your wage bill will be at a certain place 5 years from now. And you're able to come and say, if we are not growing by a certain percentage, we will not be able to make in this business and be able to afford this kind of CEO and the caliber that we need for our business to be able to hire that. Or even for your own self, let's say, when you started working, let's say your first job paid you 20,000. And you want to see how much you will be earning when you your first job maybe was at 25 after you finished university. Then your next job, 25 years, how much will you be earning based on your age, the kind of money that you earned, and the projections. When you look at your pay slip, I earned 20, and then I was increased to 22, and then you plot a line around that, and then you are able to project how much you think you take an average of all that pay and now start projecting where you are and what you would be earning. A bit complicated, I mean, so the thing is that your dependent variable will always change depending on the many factors in the organization. We are putting in a new product. This product is being phased out. You know, this is the kind of talent that we need in the organization. Maybe we do not have it, but we know that we need to bring in 100 million every year. And then after that, now start projecting data over time. Something that many of us find difficult to do, but you need to work with an expert for you to be able to do this. So it takes practice, it takes time, I must say, because then you need the linear progression, application of the quantitative techniques for you to be able to get there. So a bit complicated, I know, very, very scientific. And that's why we say manpower planning is you have to do it over and over again. Enjoy doing it using these techniques for you to be able to know. But most of us is when we go to an already established company where maybe we just say, well, we just know 10 people will leave this year. I'll recruit for 10 people. You see, I'm even doing my hand like this. 10 people will leave. We whatever 10, whatever. But for you to know, to focus ahead of the business, this is what the business expects to do. This is how the business growth. So how many people will we need, the productivity, the work that's supposed to be done, and how many people will be expected to do that. But there could only be 2 people or even no people at all, you know. So it's important for us to use these techniques. Any question? Any question? Any question? No? Okay. Around regression analysis, work study, managerial judgment, Delphi, ratio trend, you know, okay, great. So in a nutshell, what we are saying is that HR forecasting, overstaffing, understaffing, prevents overstaffing and understaffing. It reduces HR costs. It helps the efficiency and effectiveness use of HR. It helps make macro business decisions. Most importantly, HR forecasting works as a safeguard against companies' manpower investment. It is not possible to forecast anything 100% correctly. As well, regression analysis also needs some error consideration, you know, especially if you're using the regression analysis technique. HR forecasting is not superficial. It's not a superficial issue. It needs huge focus because it's worth it won't take long to collapse if you make a significant mistake in forecasting. So, you know, you just think, well, the CEO has said we are going to whatever 10 people, and you're not asking. Sooner than later, you'll either have a bloated workforce or you'll have understaffing in your organization, which really puts pressure on people. And that's not what you want. Okay, great. Recap. Which is your most favorite technique now? The one that you can use easily at your place of work? Anyone?
I think ratio would work for us. And having gone through those techniques that you've said, it seems we have been using a lot, even as we're not doing very well, the managerial one. But I think the ratio will be good for us.
Good for You, yeah. Thank you, Jane. Someone else? Or which one are you willing to try? Which one are you willing to try? Okay, great. Anybody else? Or what are you willing to challenge? Knowing that it's not abracadabra, bring in 10 people, you know, bring in 20 people. What are you willing to challenge? Anyone? Okay, great. So let's talk about jobs. What we all know. The final part of this forum, it's about jobs. What are jobs? And why do we need jobs in an organization? What are jobs? I have a job. I'm going to work. I'm going to Nikona job. I have a job. I got a job. And why are jobs important in an organization? Someone can read for us the slide. Job and why are jobs important in manpower planning? Okay, unmute yourself. You can read for us what job is.
Job is defined as collection or aggregation of tasks, duties, and responsibilities, which as a whole are regarded as regular assignments to individual employees.
Is that how we feel about jobs in our organization? Collection of duties and responsibilities? Do we define that? Anyone? If define that as okay, so let's talk about the process of job analysis. What's a job analysis? Job specification. We hear job description, job analysis. So you've agreed. We have this company. Let's say our company was called ACHRP. We're all employees of ACHRP. There's 75% of us here. So we all come and so how do you know that marketing? How do you know we should have a legal department? How do you know that we should have a HR department? And then, of course, our core business would be, I think, training. Would be offering training to different companies or different individuals and stuff like that. How do you define those jobs? I hear about job families and stuff like that. So we've predicted and we are happy. We need 100 people, and we've over time we've continued just being stable and we understand. So how do you know? Or even when you are told we need a new job, and this job, what? A social influencer, a social media expert. There are all those new jobs in the market. How do you go how do you go about advertising advising the business when there's a brand new job that is required because the business needs it? And we have seen, yeah. And what's the name of this job? You know, this new job is social influencer. What's that? How do we go about it? Someone tell me, please. Should be the easy part. Sip your favorite beverage, your coffee, your tea, water. Someone unmute themselves. How do we come up with new jobs in the organization? Anyone?
I'm not too sure in sync, but I think for us, the way we are structured, we are advisors to the business. So the business comes up with a need, and it's us to evaluate if what they're asking for is already being done, probably in a very different way within the structures we have. and we can advise that's not a new job. We honestly have this happening at ABCD at this level, or there's already somebody doing similar. Maybe it's about tweaking or just improving on what they're doing. If really then it is a new skill, new role, nobody's handling it, we haven't ventured into that before, then we go about advising at what level the job should be. So we actually do a job evaluation, to ascertain at what level it will be so that we can reward accordingly. And basically put where it will fit, how does it fit in the organization, where are the linkages to the already existing ones, and then inform in the market. Do we have such, is it easy to find in the market? If it's not easy to find in the market, then we'll have those other additional remuneration or reward expectations on how we are going to remunerate that. I think that that's what I can think of now.
Yeah, very comprehensive. If you are to evaluate the job, then you have all these tools to evaluate the job, whether it's Patterson, whether it's Hay, whether it's those whatever. Talking to your peers, it helps me a lot. Have you heard about this? What are you guys doing? If it's in the same industry, making sure that it's correctly compensated. Sometimes it's a rare skill. Yesterday we talked about salary personal to self. I mean, too many things. If there's already someone doing that job, but we need to maybe have more clarity around it and define the job within the structure of the business, then that is also done. So a lot goes into that. And half the time is when they say, but you're taking too much time to do this. What does it mean? It looks, and so it's important to make sure that all that is done, because there should no duplication of tasks. Remember, you also don't want to have a bloated workforce. Maybe it's just also rewarding. I mean, getting a new title for that job. I mean, we've been doing it, but the title is not correct. Then we redesign it and make sure that it correctly fits. And of course, like what you have said, where do the linkages lie? Who collaborates closely with this job? Where are the dotted lines? Which are the light ones? Which are the heavy ones? And how does it add value to the organization? I think that's very important, very comprehensive. Someone else bringing in new jobs? We're just happy, we have a new job, people wondering what is it going to come and do for us anyway. So job analysis, the process of studying and collecting information relating to operations and responsibilities of a specific job. The immediate products of analysis are, you come up with a job description and job specification. Well, I mean, I'm singing to the tried and tested and to the choir, sorry. What's a job description? What's a job description? How does it look like? And what's a job specification? What are those two? Job description, specifications.
Job description describes the position, tasks, duties, and specification is more about the person who fit in.
Yeah, the person the qualifications, the experience that they bring in. Yeah, so very true. Okay, so someone read for us the following steps, job analysis, very quickly. Step 1. Potential, please go on. Job analysis, step 1, collecting and
Step
recording.
1, collecting and recording job information. Step 2, the job information for accuracy. 3, writing job description based on information. Step 4, using the information to determine the skill, abilities, and knowledge. 5, updating the information from time to time.
Yeah. So who should be doing this? Who should be doing, whose responsibility? Is it to do the step-step approach to job analysis? Is it HR or is it the line manager? Or is it both of you? Or who helps the other?
Of course, the HR. The HR is the one who started that process. Then after he or she can include the line just to complement.
Complement, yeah. Anybody else of a different opinion?
I have a different opinion, especially I think job analysis can be done both by the HR and in consultation with the line manager. But I strongly feel that the job description should actually originate from the line manager because they understand what they need for that particular position. HR can provide a template for a job description, but because things on the ground would be different from for the HR, at least the line manager should have a greater say to it because the person will be reporting to them.
It's true. Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree in terms of really understanding the task, the responsibility, what really needs to be done. And of course, then after that, you put it in the language of the organization. HR helps in putting it in the language of the organization and really making sure that it is clear and well understood. So you have to work closely with the line manager in terms of step-to-step approach in job analysis. Half the time is when, and some things are not really, and you need to question around, well, and any other duty that might be assigned, and mentoring and coaching. I love those, and then I say, are they really ready for mentoring and coaching? And do they understand these things and stuff like that? Then you also find that there are competencies that maybe the person who is being earmarked to hold that position doesn't have some of these competencies, doesn't have the skills. And it is time for you to do what? Make sure that they are trained or they are facilitated to get the right skills and experience that they need to perform the job. Okay, let's continue. Job analysis, job description. Someone can read. So the job analysis, someone can unmute themselves.
A process of obtaining all pertinent job facts.
Yes, everything ahead. And then after that, we unpack it.
We have the job description is a list of jobs, duties and responsibilities, reporting relationships, working conditions, and supervisory responsibilities.
Job specifications.
Then I'm trying to just close this. My screen is halfway. I can't pull this through. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Someone else, job specification.
Job specification is a list of jobs in quotes human requirement. That is the requisite education, skills, personality, and so on.
Okay, great. Yeah. Do you feel sometimes there's a clash in a line manager trying to water down the job specification to suit to tailor make a job to a certain individual? And what do you do when you are faced with such a situation?
If I may attempt, every organization has schemes of service which bears the minimum requirements for any job. So any specifications have to be at least at that minimum. There has to be a minimum for every job.
Exactly.
Minimum requirements.
A minimum requirement for each job. Yeah. But sometimes when it's a new job, or even a new job that we are trying to reorganize, and they've already earmarked someone, XYZ, we are tailor making this job so that when they come to apply and they already meet it. What do you do? How do you add your voice and make sure that that is not watered down? Anyone? Or you just say, well, after all, this is not my mother's company.
I want to believe every organization or corporate institution or whatever have peers, and we are not reinventing the wheel. Even if it means Sedine exists within the region, at least there are other comparables you can compare, so that if you want to remain in competition with your peer institutions, organizations. So as the HR of the institution, it's your duty at that level to ensure that the standard requirements are at par with other institutions.
Very true. Yeah. So you make sure that it's at par, best market practice, what it also calls for there's some statutory compliance that if you're holding this position, these are the requirements that you need. So there are many ways to try and have that conversation with someone who's trying to water down a job that you know that we all agree as an institution should be here. Even if it's the CEO who's saying, well, do we really need 10 years of work experience? You know, you would be able to have concrete explanations as to why it needs 10 years of work experience, you know, why it needs a degree, why it needs someone who has experience in operating this kind of machine or something like that. So have your facts right so that you're not bulldozed into making a decision or just sending out a job description, which you are not fully convinced that is, I mean, you just say, well, they said, what can I do? So at least make sure that you have your facts right and say, what else can we do? How can we make sure that we are ahead of competition? And this is what we need to be done. Okay. Anybody who struggles with that? Anybody who has had a struggle? And what did you do? Okay. Uses of job analysis, job description, and job specifications. I mean, we say that it's very important for recruitment and selection, career planning, performance appraisal, health and safety, training and development or learning and development, employee discipline, and compensation. I mean, it really gives you a good purpose around this job. All these things that are highlighted here, it informs on how someone is going to hold the job. XYZ is going to hold the job. But even when I'm looking and saying, I want to join the company XYZ, how is this job description? Does it have all these functions around how am I going to be disciplined at this level? What kind of salaries and benefits would I like to be earning in this job? What kind of training? And these are things that people are always asking at interviews in terms of what is in it for me. Yesterday, we started off by what is in it for me and what the company will be also giving me. And this is what I'd also be giving the company. Okay. HR demand forecast. HR demand forecasting is the process of estimating the quantity and quality of people required to meet future needs of the organization. Who's responsible of HR demand forecasting? Who's responsible? Who's responsible? Oh, very quiet now. Who's responsible? Demand forecasting, supply forecasting, things that now we are just going through the easy ones now. As we just wind down, we're just about to few more before we complete. Who's in charge of demand forecasting, HR demand forecast?
I think HR in collaboration or working together with the heads of the department.
Heads of the department, yeah. Okay, great, yeah. So everybody is involved, whoever is responsible, the relevant people, you know, and does the CEO needs to know how many people are working in his organization, in the organization? Sorry, I use he, very biased, you know, unconscious biasness.
Of course, he needs to be briefed really for every exit and incoming employees. The CEO really like for financial status of the institution, he has to know at in one point how many employees we have.
Even when the driver leaves.
Yes.
Very good practice.
Because every number affects the payroll.
Very good practice, yeah. Someone else, do you inform your CEO how many people have left, apart from the report and why they left and the reason as to why they left, and looking at a pattern and saying people are leaving because of A, B, and C. What can we do about it? You remember where I said move your office to next to the CEO? Demand forecasting. It's important, there's every job in the organization is important, from the lowest of the cadre to the highest, and if you have the opportunity for a good talent to stay in the organization, make sure that you have policies, strategies, programs for retention. That's very important. And also looking at people's performance and listening to people. So by the time someone thinks of leaving your organization, they have thought through, where am I going? Where am I really going and where am I going to go? And by the time someone is thinking of leaving your organization, they've already come to you and told you, Catherine, I'm thinking of going. They are confident enough to come to you and say, I am thinking of leaving this organization. And I would like us to have that conversation. I have this opportunity, I've been offered, and what do you think about it? Or even, let me tell you, be so good at your town hall meetings and say, we don't want anybody to go. This is what we do for this organization. You are all important. However, if you're planning to leave, come to me for a dry run interview session. Would you do that? Because it's also, sometimes I interview people and say, you're coming from what organization again? Is that what, as you think the caliber and the quality of people, you need to look good as an organization. So, and of course, people will leave. People will leave because of different reasons, but let people leave because you are not able to provide that opportunity at that particular time that they have found, but you are so capable of taking them back because they'll be bringing in good experience for you to continue from where and maybe you're at that point now for that. So again, HR, as we said, we do so much, but those are some of the strategies that really you should be looking at and saying, my people, you remember when I said, make sure that you endear yourself to people? That's very important. Okay, so we have the demand side of where we see the quality and the quantity of people, and then we have the supply forecast. Someone can read for us the supply forecast, please. The demand to be demanded and the supply. The supply in Kenya is always more than the demand. Someone read and unpack yourself. Unmute yourself, sorry. Sorry. That's what it is, yeah.
Okay.
Anyone? Who's ready?
Zipara.
Thanks.
Human resources supply forecast is the process of estimating future quantity and quality of manpower available internally and externally to an organization. Supply forecast determines whether the HR department will be able to procure the required number of personnel. Supply forecast measures the number of people likely to be available from within and outside an organization. The supply analysis covers 3 models. First one, existing human resources. Second one, internal sources of supply. Third one, external sources of supply.
Okay. So we know that first we should look internally. If all else fails, supply forecast is looking at the number of people that will be required and how easy it is for us to be able to find those people. So we look internally and we also look externally. Good practice is always first to look internally and before we go out externally. Why do we first look internally? Why should we first look internally?
Because you could be having a talent within.
You have talent within, yeah. Someone else, yeah. You already have talent within. Someone else? Someone else?
I think it also shows the value you have for your staff and to grow them from their position. So as you promised that you're going to develop people, you're developing them to pick up higher responsibilities.
It's true. Yeah. The value that you believe in them, you trust them, you've already been developing them. So you are actually actualizing that promise that you made someone else.
It's also a way of, you motivate the people who are with us. And then it's a way of also retaining them and retaining that skill. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a way of motivating and retaining the skill. It's part of your retention strategy. Anything else as to why you should first look within?
Also, it promotes institutional memory.
Yeah. Promoting institutional memory, tacit knowledge. Someone else? Yeah. Continuity. Someone else? You cut down on your training, induction program processes and stuff like that. Okay. The right candidates are selected from an existing human resources by using the capability skills in inventory present in the HR information system. Sometimes you can have really people, but we also be very careful, guys, around GDPR. You can't just have people's CVs packed in for a long time and hoping that a job will whatever. Be very careful around how you store employee data or even potential employee data. So we need to be aware of that. How can we store the data? Have they actually agreed that we store the data? And that starts from the very beginning when we start engaging someone. Let them know why I'm asking for this information. This information will be used for this purpose. This information will be stored for this length of time. And if you don't want it to be stored for this length of time, let us know and make sure that you're actually wiping it out. Otherwise, you'll be in for a rude shock when someone comes and says, you've used my information and you've been keeping it for too long, and it's against the Data Privacy Act that was come into place in 2019. So there's a lot of discussion now around GDPR right now. Okay, so internal supply, the various aspects to be taken into account for internal supply are inflows and outflows. How many people coming in? How many people are going out? Turnover rate. What is the accepted turnover rate for an organization? Annual turnover rate. What's the accepted industry practice? If you go a certain what percentage, then you are not doing too well. What's the accepted? No? Anyone?
No idea.
No idea?
Is it 14%? But I find it 14%, yes, below 14%, but I find it too high to certain sectors. In some sectors, actually, if you do 5%, 7% is too high for them.
James, thank you. Someone else? Accepted turnover rate? Accepted 9.5, pushing into 10. If you have more than 10, then it's really, especially for your permanent staff, leave the seasonal people like, and some will be higher. Take, for example, the guarding industry where they have 10,000 guards, they're always coming in, going out, going in, going out. So that's a very different and unique industry that needs to, that you need to look at. But of course, you have your core, you have your core talent, you have your core staff that you need not to go more than 10%. If you're going more than 10%, then there's a problem, and that problem needs to be addressed, then it's too high. There's something that you're not doing right. Absenteeism. Of course, we know that people become absent for various reasons. Either they are sick, and most of the time people become absent because they are disengaged. And every Monday, I'm sick, in between the week, I have to do something, Absenteeism does not also right now, what we are looking at is that it's not just, I'm absent, I can be present, but very absent. I do work for the first 2 hours. And then after that, well, I'll I'll just warm the chair, drink your tea and do stuff, you know. But there are some people, again, when you look at engagement level, where you come and say, I'm giving 3 hours of work and that is quality work. Why can't you let me go and do the rest of the work, that whatever? So it's a very fine balance around absenteeism. Present, I'm there, but I'm not doing anything, compared to me, you knowing that she will come in, 4 hours of pushing in the afternoon. She'll be walking around the politician and asking for ideas and stuff like that. So you must really be able to tell absent, where I have actually applied for sick leave or emergency leave or whatever it is, but absent, and I'm not doing anything. Okay. And also me being able to do like a gig economy. I come and work for you for 5 hours, really good work, and the rest of the 3 hours allow me to go to the golf course to look for more business for you guys. Productivity level, are you able to measure productivity level of really what I look at, like the work study technique? Productivity level, she's supposed to pick 100 calls or serve 100 customers in a day. Is that really whatever? And it's good quality work. It's not just, you know, churning it out. Productivity at every level, whether it's tangible work that can be seen, or it's intangible where like HR, you know, of course you can have a project that is timed, but all these things that we spoke about, you know, people coming to office asking for advice. How are you able to look, how are you able to measure productivity level at that front and at that space? Yeah. Movement among jobs in between, people really moving in between, you know, moving from one department to the other, being able to look at internal resourcing, people being motivated to move into a brand new job. Are they ready? And have you made them ready for that? Okay. Internal supply, the number of gain and losses of staff, you know, it's just the same. It's into explanation now, refers to just like what we have said, you know, turnover, people who leave, unauthorized work, absence, ratio of output, input, change, productivity, internal resource, recruitment, selection, and placement. Any question there? Are you looking at your internal supply from that point of view? Inflows, turnover, absenteeism, you know, productivity, and movement among staff. I encourage you to do that. Okay. External supply, you know, how many unsolicited applications do you get? 1 million, isn't it? I love everyone who applies. You know, you put up a job advert and you get all sorts of applications. I like those kind of people. They're ambitious. Of course, they clog your system. But anyway, as we said, good jobs are few and far between. Or even the supply, the supply is more than the demand. So how are you using what job boards? How are you making sure that you're attracting the right talent? Mm-hmm. Are you using more of advertisements the traditional way? Are you using social media? Are you using your websites? Are you a good brand? Do you feel that if brand X, your competitor, puts up an advert for the same position and you are putting up the same advert, who would get more? Who would get more applications? Do you worry about that? The employee brand visibility. How do you make sure that your external supply starts with your brand and how you have positioned your brand? How do you make sure that you are getting the best talent in the market? People would want to join you. How are you doing that as HR? Someone needs to mute. How are you doing that? How are you helping your brand grow in terms of bringing the best talent in the market? If you're not a known brand, do you struggle? How are we bringing in good talent into the organization? Anyone? Is the traditional way of advertising working for us as HRs, or what's the best way to bring in external supply? Someone?
The traditional advertising does not work 100% on a specific talent. I work at a public institution of higher learning.
Yeah.
And there's a point we were looking for professors for a new school we were establishing. And such kind of staff for that particular profession, let me say maybe for instance, the School of Law. We advertised several times and we were getting like 0 applicants, professors in the School of Law. Yeah, for the School of Law. So when it reaches that extent, then you have to look for another way of attracting staff through either headhunting, using expertise in the area to reach out to maybe professors from other institutions who might be interested to come and start a school. And when you do that, such a kind of stuff, because you need them to grow the school, you might have to even, give them some special packages so that you come and start the school. So it really depends on what kind of skill you're looking at that particular time. There are those which when you advertise, you'll get like thousands or hundreds of applications.
Yeah.
So it depends from time to time on what kind of skill you're looking at that particular time.
Yeah, true. So depends with the skill. Very true. You might be forced to go headhunt, talk to people. And then when you're talking to people, headhunting can be one of the expensive ways because, oh, you want me, I'm important, and I bring this skill. So this is what I also expect you to provide to me as my total cost to company and stuff like that. So we have to be aware of that. Yeah. One of the things that really would discourage HR is when you go and ask people to come and join you and nobody is willing to come and join you as a company. What do? Who has ever been faced with that? No. I hear the politics in that place. I can't make it. I'm not interested. How would you redeem your brand from poor publicity? That position, nobody seems to stay. I don't want it. What would you do? Or even you are being talked to about, everybody's talking about that position, it's there, nobody wants to come. How would you feel it and fill that position, and you expected to fill that position as soon as possible? Or you would apply for that position yourself. Okay, let me fill it now as I try and get someone else to come and fill it. Be pragmatic, be innovative. What would you do if you're struggling to fill a position? Because the word out there is it's difficult to stay. What would you do? Internally, there is nobody. For sure, you know that you have to go out externally. What would you do?
Catherine.
Yeah.
Okay, for us, what we did, I know there's a top position in HR and there's one in accounts, chief position in accounts, then the top position in HR. So what we did with the top position in HR, because we kept on employing somebody, and then what happened, they would not stay. Within a year, they would not stay. I think issues with it was all revolving on issues with the pay. So what happened for that position in HR, we had a talent internally. So we actually employed, we did an interview internally, and then we took the internal employee positions, legal and chief accounts. What we did, we put acting people internal who can actually do the work. They're not employed in those positions, but they're acting. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the opportunity, of course, to put in someone in an acting capacity. They get to understand the job, play the role, and maybe you confirm them later. And of course, at the same time, you can also look internally and whatever. But let's say you have nobody internally, and of course, acting capacity is really well defined in your policy, and you're able to do that and take someone in acting capacity. But if you are struggling because everybody says no, what would you do? The 72 of us, what would you do to make sure that that you feel a position that you are really struggling with? We all know organizations which have struggled to fill positions. What would you do? Or you've never faced yourself, or you would hope that it doesn't happen to you?
I think I have a scenario that happened at our workplace.
Yeah.
My name is Caroline.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling to fill a communications director position.
Mm-hmm.
We had the cases where people come, and after a short while, because of the nature of our business, it's quite, it's quite, I think it's both a political, and you find sometimes communication becomes, that department has literally been one of my biggest headaches.
Mm-hmm.
And internally, the levels were quite low.
Mm.
And the ones who are there were at officer level, and you're looking for a director, and we bring one after 4 months. Even some of them don't even finish the probation. They're saying, no, the pressure is too much, I'm leaving to something else.
Mm.
We filled it internally on an acting position, and that acting has been, I think, on and off. It's on the required 6 months in public service.
Mm-hmm.
We post out. So I think it's very hard position. But now the biggest challenge for me is the person that was put to fill this role as late as yesterday is demanding now to be, of course, be confirmed, but has not attained the requisite levels. So then in that planning, what do? We filled it internally just to hold the position and let the department keep running.
Mm-hmm.
But then the person, I think I received this morning and yesterday, now demanding that I've been here for 2 years. I need to be confirmed, and I need to be given. But I was asking, have you, with this 1.5 years that you've been there, we gave you an opportunity to train, to advance.
Mm. But they've not done it. We lost you. We lost you. Okay. I think what Carol is saying is that it's real. Sorry. And I see that all the time in people coming and saying, what can we do? What should we do? Those are real hard questions and a real challenge in an organization. Sometimes you just think, let's this position is jinx, let's do away with it, let's think through it, but the organization really needs it. And there's no one solution that fits all. I think you just have to innovate, look around it, maybe restructure it, reorganize it, have more talk around that position. What can we do about it? Really concentrate and put a lot of effort, and together with the people who work in that department, and also looking at the support structures around that position. And that is a position that really should be on the radar of the CEO to stabilize that position. I believe that working closely with the head of the institution or head of the company to make sure that it stabilizes, people feel good about holding that position. There's a lot, even when you go to great recruiters and say, no, I can't take that brief for you. It's difficult, and a good recruiter just doesn't want to take your money. They really want to make sure that the person who comes in is able to stay, is able to be successful. So difficult as it is. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Can I just add something that you've said, which we have been trying, just in 1 minute?
Yeah.
We realize that the internal audit and that communication department, they are a bit the thorny, they're called the pain areas as for us. So what we've decided with the other part of the management, that we give them a close attention, and then we have attached some of the senior managers to be able to support the teams. Those two departments became, so what you're saying is correct. We have to take up this position as HR professional now with the CEO, and we were able to tell our CEO that you need to now also be careful as you make your support to these two departments. And during this COVID, we've seen a lot of support and stability, just to say so, although we are still looking to be able to fill them substantively. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe it's also out in the public domain, for example, like the position of the Chief Justice after the former Chief Justice resigned, and the advert was put out. All the 7, I think all are they 7 or 6, the ones in the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, none of them, I think, I don't know whether 1 or 2 have applied, but can you imagine a position that is a coveted position as Chief Justice for an entire country, and you would all be thinking, well, I really want that position, I'm ready for it, I have prepared, I think I am whatever. None of you applies. It can really be discouraging, you know. It's real. So those are some of the things that as HR we should cause us sleepless nights, you know. I'm not being able to fill this position. What is it about my brand? What is it about this position? What is it about the culture in my organization? How do people see me, you know? Because you want to be a brand of choice. Sometimes it's difficult. You can't save the whole world, but those are some of the things when we say, what do we do in HR? What is causing me sleepless nights is my brand visibility, how I position myself to bring in talent for the organization. Okay, so lastly, resilient operational plans, manpower plans is future divided into the following resultant operation plans, and we all know them. I won't even go through them in depth. What are your recruitment plans? What are your redeployment plans? Do you have, first it starts with you having a policy and making sure that those policies are progressive, they are clear, they're articulated, and everybody really does understand. So when they are asking, recruitment plan, how did this happen? How is it going to happen? You have it all carved out and you're able to explain. Redundancy plan, your retention plan, you are checking in, you are reviewing your points from time to time and making sure that it is going the way it should be going. So I won't go through one by one, but you can go in through the notes. So finally, skills inventory. Have you done a skills inventory? Your system, what do you know? I mean, when you ask about people, you just don't want to know people for what they are able to deliver. I think a good organization also wants to go out without feeling you're invading people's personal space, my hobbies, my interests, community involvement, you know, really getting to know me a little bit more. And how can I support the organization in terms of that, you know, and being able to also give me time to have a good work-life balance. I keep on saying that if I really don't know 1 or 2 unique things about, and if it's a big organization, you'll not be able to do that. But people in your department, you just don't want to work as robots. You want to have a healthy relationship, not just acquaintances, but you can elevate it 1 level up and say, how you doing? You know, especially during these COVID times when we needed to have a bit of more empathy and duty of care and going through without feeling you are invading in people's space. Oh, you like to read? Oh, which book are you reading? I'm also belonging to a book club. Which is your book club and stuff like that. So you have a better connection with your teams internally. When you have the right people working internally with you, is that productivity, communication, having the same values the same beliefs, the same the DNA, the culture and stuff like that, it becomes much easier to work with people. People enjoy work. We're able to look at what we need to do for this organization. People feel engaged, people feel involved. So really go out of your way and not just become, well, performance, you're not performing, we are going to put you on your PIP and stuff like that. You might just be very quick to know that, well, I'm not performing because I have this problem that unfortunately I cannot share with you because I don't trust you. Actually, it's a sure win of doing an engagement survey. You don't have to have elaborate engagement surveys and send them out and whatever. Just how people engage with each other is good enough for you to read the said and to the unsaid. So a bit more, I like to emphasize on that. People's interests, people's hobbies, getting, and without feeling that you're intruding in people's spaces, and also people feeling that you're respecting. So that talk on the corridor on Monday, what did you do for the weekend? How was it? How is your family? You know, and is there anything, what's exciting about this new week for you? You know, those, I know you have a big project coming up. How is it going? Is there anything that I can plug in? I hear you're doing well. So be happy to engage at that level, and you will see that really productivity goes up, engagement levels goes up, but also now just asking, what can we do more for you to be able to get to the next place and get people understanding what their ambitions are. Okay, so management inventory. So all that what you need to do. So finally, recruitment yield plan, you all know this, you know how you do your recruitment from the time you advertise to the time the offer is given. Let someone not come in and you're not ready for them. Orientation is not onboarding, my friends, we all know that. Orientation takes longer. It's every day, it's about looking at performance and making sure that you're actually ready in that. Okay, any question there? Any question? Movement patterns, it's all whatever. Recruitment yield, you know, you have put that's how it is in terms of, let's say you put up an advert, you had 1,200 leads, 200 candidates were invited, those very, you know, it's a phone interview, you are shifting, and then the candidates are interviewed, 100 are offered, 50 new hires, around that kind of a pyramid that really goes on with it. Okay, I'm really just rushing through around, you know, about the selection, the factors affecting selection, you know, external environment, the internal environment, what it means. And really, I'm just surprised that I can come in and I see that all the time around candidates. You agreed to a certain salary, you knew the benefits, then all of a sudden you change your mind and say, no, I'm not happy with the pay. What happens? What are we supposed to do? And I will be leaving because of the pay. You agreed and signed the dotted line. Then 6 months later, you're coming and say, what would be the problem? What would be the challenge? First, sometimes there's a real challenge, which I will point out. So you have to again look at recruiting altogether. Someone comes and says, I'm not happy with my pay. What have they learned? What have they come across? Or why are they not happy about it? You've accepted a job, even you, maybe you've accepted a job and just said, no, this is not what I signed up for, though I really signed up for it. Anyone?
Okay. This is Zipporah.
Yeah.
For instance, you join a company, and during the interview,
yeah,
they only mention that this is you're going to work for one company. Later on, after joining, you realize the company is a group of companies.
Yeah.
The jobs are much more than what you had been told earlier. And another reason could be when you realize that whoever is there, you find like the position you are holding, what you are being paid is on the lower side. And the work you do is much, much more. And others are in the same position or maybe slight below you, and they're earning like double of what you're earning.
It's True. Yeah. Very true. You go in and find out. So you feel betrayed. You feel that the trust, you already don't trust them, and it's very, very unfortunate. Yeah. Thanks, Cora. Someone else?
Okay. This is Mercy.
Yeah.
Okay. I think one other issue that personally I have experienced is you join a company, and during the interview, you don't know much about the company, so they tell you how they're not doing well, and they just want to improve, and then you get in and you find a lot of information. Maybe the role that you play displays a lot of financial information about the company. So you realize that maybe you even agreed to take what the other company was offering or something slightly above, but everybody else is being paid better. Then you realize that whatever they told you was a lie. And then with time, they keep adding responsibilities, and then you just lose. So sometimes you just decide to leave because of such.
Yeah. Lack of trust. When you go in, you find what was discussed and what was said was not true, and then you just decide, well, it's not worth it. I will either leave, and then you feel you feel the anger, the disappointment, and you're already there. And you're thinking, well, I have to now start looking for another job. How do I explain to the recruiter, a bad recruiter, as I call them, that I went in, I found that what they said was not true, and I felt that the principle of trust had already been broken. I was only there for 3 months, and I'm looking for a job. And then, oh, you are a job hopper. You hop from one job to another. Oh my gosh, yeah. Recruiters, yeah. We'll see the door of heaven pretty soon. Next, someone else. Why do whatever? What do we find out? People leaving. So you're always on the recruitment mode. Yeah, it's important for. I keep on saying trust is a big factor to how we start engaging with each other. You'd rather say the truth, and you have no reason as to, unless you have restructured the job, it would be very unfair to deny someone the correct salary because you've decided, well, the one earning 50, this job pays 300, and if you give them 150, they will be over the moon. Of course, they'll be over the moon. That's a big increase, But when they go in and discover that the job actually pays 300, they will feel bad about it. So let's do what is correct. Even if you are convinced, the hiring manager says, no, this is what you should stand your ground and say, no, this is the job. Even if they came from a position of 50,000 to 300, or what you need to do is ask them, well, this is a big leap for you. How are you doing? How is your financial management appetite, and do you know, this will be a big leap, what are you going to do? Give them some training around personal finances, planning and stuff like that. Show the duty of care, go the whole way, and people will never leave, people will always stay. Okay, good.
And, Madam, just to add a little on the same, you also find out that as people in HR team, we believe so much in training. But you go to an organization after joining afterwards, you realize that such things don't even exist. When you try to push more for the employees to be trained on things that you see are valuable to them, plus to the employer as well, you don't get the support. All the time it's management are negative. So that's also demotivate someone. It can lead to turnover.
Exactly. Yeah. So all those things that we choose to challenge, as I say, my mantra for this year is that how do you make sure that when you're bringing people, because you're bringing in the best talent that ever could be, someone else has left somewhere to come and join you, make the experience from how you invite them for the interview to how you engage with them during the interview process to how you give them the offer. And when they ask questions, please answer them as precisely, as factual and as quickly as you can, for you to be able to be seen that you really want to bring them in. So let's not recruitment be shrouded in whatever. So Succession management, very important around succession management is a process of finding replacement employees for key managerial, not just managerial positions, all positions. Yes, we want to make sure that there's continuity, like what we have been discussing all along. You know, internally, if you don't have an elaborate succession planning program, again, what does HR do? Those are some of the things that should be keeping you awake at night. Your critical, your key positions. Have you earmarked them for succession planning? If someone was to leave in that position, are you ready? Are people ready? And even if you have a talent pool around many people for the same position, what is the criteria of saying that XYZ is ready, and if this position is vacant today, they would be ready, but all the other people, you have put them in the talent pool for that position. How are you going to make sure that they don't feel discouraged, that you have given ABC the job while they were still in the same journey together? That is why it is important to stagger your succession planning and talent pooling ready now, long-term, short-term, and immediate. You know, you're ready now, you're ready in 2 years, you're ready in 3 years, depending on how your plan is. And that is also a strong way of making sure that you're looking at your retention strategies and, of course, motivating people and not giving people a false sense of hope that, you know, when the director leaves, you'll be next in line. Also, please remember that it's not necessarily the traditional way of putting people in positions. So the director has left, so the next person in line to be promoted is the manager. Might not be it. The manager might not be ready. The manager might not be interested. You take the officer, they're ready. We feel that we have equipped them, they're ready. Everybody feels that they are ready and whatever. And you tell this manager, it's not necessarily following that. And of course, you can also put in processes and methods and transparency around, if this is what's going to be it, all of you are ready, why don't we go in for an interview? So just to make sure that the processes and the organization does not have any gaps. But that starts from the fact that you have a very good, elaborate succession plan, policy. At the same time, you have programs enabling your succession planning policies and whatever, and all the competencies in the organization have been mapped out, and people know the gaps, and they have identified those gaps through performance management, through everyday coaching, through everyday discussions, and saying, I need this, and you are availing that. You are able to avail those programs or those shortcomings of people, and they're able to be ready for what it is. That also calls for planning around your learning and development budgets. And we also need to be creative around some of those things that require budgets, but we don't have them, but we still need to make sure that we are ready for succession planning. Okay, any question? Any question? That comes to the end of our webinar. Stop share. I'll open it up for questions and answers, for feedback, for opinions, for discussion. Open it up for discussion. Answer question and answer session now. Please feel free to unmute yourself.
Catherine, thank you so much for the session yesterday and today.
Yeah.
Very enlightening. I think I have a quick one here. Yeah, you gave us an indication of, you know, that's the turnover rate, as a benchmark. I'm wondering whether you could also be having one for absenteeism and productivity, workforce productivity.
I could send you, not on top of my head, but I can send you a 51 metrics, the common 51 metrics. Check that how to do the calculation. If you're interested, I don't have on top of my head. I don't know whether absenteeism has industry accepted great percentage, but I could actually look, and thanks for whatever, but I do have a very easy, the 51 popular HR metrics that you can use to make sure that you are checking on all the functions of HR. And when you are giving your data and you're giving your data and your reports, it's actually supported by data. So if you would want me to do that, I can send to Dan, and he can post it on the LMS together with this presentation. Is that okay?
Thank you. That's okay, Catherine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, great. Another question? Another question?
Yeah, Catherine, maybe it's important to share the metrics.
Okay, so share metrics.
Because you expect to have them next. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, share metrics. Yeah, please make sure that you use them. You look clever and nice when you're going for your board meeting with your high heels and red lipstick. I didn't just say that. Okay, someone else? Someone else? Question? Answer? Was it useful?
I have one, Catherine.
Yeah.
What are the 2 to 3 main challenges you'd expect based on your expertise in implementing HR strategy?
Your overall HR strategy?
Yes, overall.
Overall, okay. That's a good question. For me, I have implementing the strategy. First is the budget constraints, which are real. And sometimes you have to fight and jostle around that. So overall, the budget implementation. The other one is evaluating the strategy. Just making sure that I can go in, evaluate where the strategy is against the business strategy. Because then half the time is when I want to use my gut feeling and say, ooh, that didn't go too well. And instead of using data, using the real hard work in terms of doing that. And then the other one is too much. HR managers have seen that. Managers relying too much on HR to execute and to do their work. So for me, those three, I always look at them very critically. And in everyone, what do I do is say, which is easy, which one can I win, whom can I bring to my fore to be able to execute and to be able to run with the strategy. So every time I go for the board or for the meetings, I always have an agenda that really points to the strategy, and it's actually also pointing to the overall company strategy. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? And you can also contribute what have been some of your pain points of executing your HR strategy in the organization. And that makes it easy. You remember where I said that we simplified the business strategy so that everybody is aware. Then when you say, this is my HR strategy, this is a marketing strategy, this is the communication strategy, then it all points to the business, whatever. Yeah. Evaluating from time to time is a real, it's a real challenge. Yeah. Someone else? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Florence, for that. Yeah. IDOT learning. I know. Don't we all? I know. Yeah. I was supposed to send you to breakaway rooms and I wasn't ready for that exercise. So thank you for that pointer. We appreciate feedback. Well noted. Yeah. Thank you. Someone else? Okay. So thank you, everyone.
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have done a job evaluation,
yeah,
and you realize it's only targeting one position which has been there, and it requires very.
We lost you, Eva. There's one position that requires. we lost you? Positiva or Mercy? Job
Hello?
evaluation? Yes, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. You have done a job evaluation, and there's only one position that requires to have changes, and this position is to be downgraded. However, this position has very unique qualifications, and it even requires one to have registered and obtain certificates for them to be able to practice. How do you handle this? Well, this position is very critical to the organization, but they want to downgrade it. While you look at the market rates, the pay is high for the market rates, but in the organization, they want to downgrade it. How do you handle this?
You know, it's when so let me quickly just wrap up about job evaluation and how emotive it is. Job evaluation is as emotive as buying land in this country. We're all aware. So the moment you say that you want to do a job evaluation in the organization, let's say all the jobs in the organization, okay, you've agreed you're going to do a job evaluation. You've looked for the best tool and everybody has approved the tool. The committee has been selected and HR is the technical person to give whatever. So we are evaluating. The first thing that you need to communicate, we're evaluating jobs, we are not evaluating people. And give the factors that are going to whatever. Jobs might stay where they are. A job might be upgraded and the job might be downgraded. Unfortunately, people are already holding those jobs. So if you downgrade my job, and I have done many job evaluations, you can be sure if you downgrade jobs and the people who hold those jobs, some people will choose to leave the business. You also have an appeal mechanism when you have a job evaluation where now I have been given my new job. Job is falls in grade 2. The salary is in grade D2, whatever, and everybody has been communicated. And you can appeal because then the job evaluation can be done again by, you know that those steps and whatever. It's very difficult, Eva, because if it's scientific and if it has been done well, and remember your ability to pay as an organization is informed by many things, the kind of business that you are, whether you want to be in the 75th percentile, 50th percentile, 100th percentile, 25th, there are too many things. Unless you have those things from the very beginning, a job of, let's say, a job of what? If you think that that job is very important in the organization, it does not necessarily mean that it is the job that is paid the most. I think that's what I wanted to say. An important critical job in the organization does not necessarily mean that it will be paid the most. And that is why it is important for you to map out first your critical positions, and even that critical position of it could be in the lower cadres of staff. It's just about convincing. And if you can show the process of this is what it is, this is the criteria, this is whatever, but remember where you want to put yourself in your peers. Are your peers in the 75th percentile? Are they in the 50th percentile? Are they in the 25th percentile? So that is where you need to understand that if your quality assurance with Google, who is at 75th and 100th percentile, you are doing the same business like Google and you're only on the 25th percentile, because that is where your business can afford, there's no way that you'll be able to come and say best practice. You can say this is whatever, but you can take an average of what it is. It is difficult and some people will choose to go. That is why, again, succession planning, having that communication before, communicating that this is what's going to be, the realities versus the perceptions. And at every point, this is where we are, this is what's going to happen. And by the time you are unveiling it, you want to resign as HR. I can tell you, especially in big organizations, and especially if there is no objectivity and buying from management. So all those dynamics have to be put on the table, and we have to evaluate that. And of course, there are two jobs that there is no need of evaluating at a job, in a job evaluation. We all know them. The head of the organization and the lowest person in the organization, they will always be. Traditionally, we all know that those jobs will still remain at the bottom of the tier, and that other one will remain at the top of the tier. So there's no need of evaluating it. Okay, Eva, sorry, I don't know the solution, but that's the truth of the matter. I've helped you, or I've complicated it more?
You have complicated it more, but thank you.
Suggest me.
That's okay. I think Eva, as an HR, assuming that actually Eva is the HR, she herself is not convinced that that job was evaluated well. And I think she should actually follow, she can side chat you. She may need actually to go back to appeal. She can do it as an HR and look at all those factors and reevaluate the job objectively.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So we can side chat. Anybody else before I hand it over to Dan? Job evaluations done periodically. You need to do job evaluations. Yeah, maybe some people say 2 years is a good time. You know, it's draining, it's expensive if you have to use whatever. But once you have the tool and you have new jobs, remember when your jobs change by 15%. And it's not a science, oh, job yangu sasa may change by 15%. I think it is. There's a criteria. You take it to the job evaluation committee. So jobs are evaluated all the time in organizations. I evaluate all the time, you know, it's a draw, whatever. When I said, when someone is leaving, you have an opportunity to restructure that job, take it through the job evaluation. So if you have the tool internally and you have people to evaluate, you'll never have a problem. Jobs will always be correctly placed in there. Right, the moment comes when you downgrade a job. But when you upgrade a job, nobody says anything. When you leave it where it is, what wakona ushingo pande, but downgrading is where it's always a problem. Then over to you. Are you still there? Or did you fall off from the radar of the earth? Sorry, that's me. Okay.
No.
Then over to you.
Catherine, I'm still listening to you, and I've listened to our participants. But I also realize that there is need to cover more ground regarding manpower planning, especially in view of the current world of work, the world we live in today. So to our participants, I would be getting back to you, number one, with the number of metrics that Catherine has promised us. I'll share with us. But I can confirm for this particular class, the notes are already online. If you had paid, but you had not logged into your system to take the course, I've already shared the steps on how to access the notes. Let me share once again, just in case you had not seen that. I'll share again. Sorry. So I've shared again on the chat. You're able to see the steps for you to be able to access the notes, to be able to access your certificate, to be able to access your receipt, and to be able to access the presentation. Something I've seen that some of us are not able to see is that when you're viewing the presentation, you go to my courses. Go to my courses, click view presentation. Then on the left panel, you'd be able to see YouTube video for the first day. That is now Manpower Planning, and it was a 2-day training. So if you click on the first day video, you are able to view what we had yesterday. I'm going to upload the video for this particular presentation shortly. So you'll also be able to see that. Now, for all those who had applied or who had followed the procedure I've shared, I've already, by this morning, I had already approved their trainings. So one is able to, except maybe Rose Ogata from Kisii University, but I've shared with you via email your password. Now, from the chat that I've posted there, our contact details are there. That is the telephone number. You're able to, you can chat with us, you can chat with me on WhatsApp. In case you are encountering any problem, and I would take, it would be my honor to take you step by, okay, I've seen Lillian say something. Let's chat after this. That is my number, 0722 300 245. Catherine, you've done very good work for the 2 days. Those are a total of 6 hours. 2 CPD points approved by IHRM for the HR professionals present. Tomorrow, that is Wednesday, Thursday, we shall be having the employee onboarding. Employee onboarding by Agnes Mweni, CHRPK Agnes Mweni. You're all welcome. If you are not enrolled for that part of tomorrow, it will be a great training. Agnes is a good trainer, and she knows her staff very well, and she's been there in the profession for many years, just like Catherine Omwangi. Catherine is a practicing HR. I don't know whether she said that. So yesterday I asked her where she was doing this. She told me she was in the she was in her office, and she was able to squeeze for us some 3 hours. Thank you so much, Catherine. Then again, now to you. Any of us there who is able to train, talk to me. I was thinking if I was to give each one of you a training one day, then the whole year will be covered. Then we'll be able to do, we'll be able to share the knowledge we have. On my part, this is what I do. And I do training as a hobby, not as a business, really. I'm on leave where I work. So I work for Nairobi Water Company as a HR. So that's where I am. Now, this one is the Academy of Certified Human Resource Professionals. We brought this together as a result of the various frustrations that we, the HR professionals, have found ourselves in for many years. And at one point, we realized acquiring CPD points should not be a helluva task. It should not be, one should not, you should not use all your money, all you earn to acquire the CPD points. So I thought, so that I can also learn together with the other HR professionals, can we do this together? So we try as much as possible to bring affordable training programs. This is the 5th year learning. So affordable training programs to HR professionals. So let's work together, let's move together. If you're not in a WhatsApp group, again, chat with me on WhatsApp on that number. I'll add you to a very dynamic, robust HR chat group. Then we have the largest Telegram forum. Telegram works the same way like WhatsApp, but without the limitation of numbers. again, it has very high safety measures. Like you cannot edit a text on WhatsApp if you found that you had a mistake, but on Telegram you can do that. So what we have on Telegram are 3,600 HR professionals brought together from, I created that group in 2016, sometime in September. Then I was adding one HR professional. I guess I started with Catherine Wamwangi. Then I moved on to Jane Wanjohi, Nele, Kavindu, Grace Jogona. Then I brought, so those people I've mentioned, we've worked together, Hotans, the Siamba. We've worked together for all those years. Agri Aduru. Agri Aduru is a very serious consultant. So he does a lot of, what did you say, Agri?
I do a lot of, I'm usually in the outsourcing, HR outsourcing sphere.
Yeah, you see? And by the way, most of us here in HR were not even aware that HR is being outsourced. So now you know. Now, those are the people we've been together, like in Agnes Gadoni, James Nyamosi, all these gentlemen and ladies are in the Telegram group. It's huge. People share knowledge, and you would be astonished to know that people, 3,600 HR professionals together, the amount of knowledge and expertise they combined that they are able to share with one another is huge. So for those who've joined us today for the first time, or they joined us yesterday for the first time, again, if you text, I would prefer you WhatsApp. If you do that, I'll be able to share with you the, but no, let me actually share that now on the chat group. So copy that, and you are able to join the Telegram group. So I think I've said a lot of things, but in a nutshell, what I was trying to impress you upon you is that if you ever wish to train, I'm always looking to enrich our talent pool. Yeah, and then I would give you a platform. Ours is a paid Zoom, so we can hold this discussion the whole day and the whole night for the whole year without interruptions of any sorts whatsoever. This is a webinar, and we are able to have everybody being in the discussion group, so we can, as much as there are lockdowns, let's say this, we can, but there I have my baby, he's making some noise. And you know, men are not able to multitask. Somebody once told me that a man cannot chew gum and cross the road at the same time. Don't know how true that is, but it messes my thought through. But that is I've shared the Telegram group link. I've shared our contacts. Let's discuss. See you tomorrow for employee onboarding class. Then this week you'd have earned your 4 CPD points. It was a great way to start the year with this kind of trainings, so that if you are required to have 10 points by the end of the year, you've already done 6. You've already done 4. And one other thing, we never do trainings that are not approved for CPD points. And there are so many trainers out there asking you to join a training, this or that. And then unless you have a lot of time, always ask whether is that training approved to earn you CPD points. Now, maybe I needed to show you how to access just allow me 1 minute or 2 minutes to just show you how to access the video on the ACHRP portal. So I want to share my screen, and maybe let me start with something. What you see there is the Telegram group, this one. The Telegram group has a lot of chats. People talk about a lot of things every day. For the last 5 years, you'll find all those chats there. So sometimes you might even find an answer for your question before you've gone very far. And you can also install Telegram on your laptop. So when you are working, you can be seeing what is happening. That's what I did to this machine. And so let's move on to what I was saying. I want to show you how to view the video on SCHRP. One of the easiest. I was looking for a template on how to do a credit note. I've seen one. Now, our website is achlp.org. I created this website. Again, I do some of these things during my free time. I was realizing that as a HR, one needs to be versatile and to be able to do so many things at the same time. So I did this, and so there we are. I have, when you log in to achlp.org, that is the homepage that you'll get. If your network is doing very well, it should load very fast. I guess mine is a little bit slow. Like on the left-hand side, you'll find the images. The photos you find there are real photos taken in during real events. We train more HR people than any other training firm. I can assure you of that. So we do trainings, we do team building. Yeah. We get the best trainers on industrial relations. Actually, before the corona or the COVID-19 lockdown, recent one, we were at Tomboya Labor College having our 5th annual industrial relations summit. I was almost getting locked down there. So now, when you go to achlp.org, you put your email address. And for purposes of moving forward, if you have attended our trainings before, and I knew a lot of people had forgotten their passwords, so we reset the passwords for everyone to HR 2021, small letters, HR 2020, HR 2021, small letters. So you put your email address, I'll put mine, then I'll move very fast, and then I'll sign in. So when you sign in, the page you get when you sign in, the first page you get, and again, those we started with a long time ago would agree with, would tell you that this system was not like this when we began. So we've done a lot of modifications to make it user-friendly and to make work easier for everybody. So now the first page is take courses. These are the menus, the ones I'm pointing with the cursor there. First one, take courses, my courses, edit profile, change password, and log out. At the top there is your dashboard. The purpose of this dashboard, it shows you the number of CPD courses that you have taken and the number of CPD courses that you have accumulated so far. And you're able to check for all the years you've attended. So we are in 2021. So far, I have 6 CPD courses. I have 14 CPD points. You can be able to download the IHRIM form that is required when the end of the year, when you want to renew your HR or annual membership, just click download record. Then on the far end, you find there is download verification. That is when you don't want to download the individual certificates one by one, you just click download verification. Now, if you taking courses is very simple. You just click on the first box, select course. When you do that, at the top here, it shows you the amount payable. M-Pesa pay bill number is indicated there. The account number, because this is a pay bill, it is your ID number. Now enter transaction ID. The transaction ID refers to that M-Pesa code that you get. You type it there and click submit. Immediately, your courses will go to my courses once you click submit. And it is, so I'm trying to move to my courses. So it moves you to my courses. And at my courses, all the courses you've taken with us since we began in 2017, like if you check on my page there, because I usually enroll for any training that we create, all my courses are there. I'm able to see them and I'm able to go through my materials. Here's how you do it. I forgot to say something. On the course ID, if you click on the course ID, you will see the IHLM approval there. Manpower planning, and at the bottom, you see the number of CPD points that this course has been approved for. Now, if you click on the course title, the course itself, like that, what you see there is the course content. You want to see what is this course all about. The course content is there. At least that document is downloadable in case you want to say seek approval to attend a particular training. Again, we also put the link there, the dates, the Zoom webinar, the name of the training. That is under the course title. Okay, these two columns are similar. No, the two columns, they are the same as what is found under take courses. Now, we wanted to view presentation. So for manpower planning, I would click view under the presentation column, this column. And my presentation will load. Even without me sharing the webinar link on WhatsApp, you're able to get the webinar link. If you've enrolled for this particular course, you get, immediately the course is approved, you get an email with the webinar link, name of the trainer, the course title, the webinar ID, the webinar password. Now, here we are. This was the training that Catherine was taking us through. The notes are already there. You navigate by going next page, or previous page. So these notes will be yours for as long as you are in that portal. And since it's free to be there, as long as you have enrolled for a program, the notes are yours. You can be able to go through the notes at any time. Now, on the left panel, there is Open YouTube Video Day 1. Now, for YouTube Video Day 2, it will come below what we have there. So, once the presentation has opened, you can interchange the presentation with your video. Open YouTube video, there we are. That's what we had yesterday. Confirmation, just see.
We are ready for the business inevitable. I know also
that's what Catherine was.
A bit hard around, even if it was really a good candidate. So this is your big. Sit here with me. me, Catherine, which I don't have to do, but I keep on saying, please complete these forms. And of course, before onboarding, you have told them this is what's going to happen.
Very well. So I've stopped sharing that, but good people, you've confirmed that the video, the training video as it happened yesterday is accessible on your portal. You can, that happens for all our past trainings. So never fail to enroll for a particular program or an upcoming program simply because you will not be able to be there physically. In fact, we are not even in this training physically. It's virtual. So now, the other part of virtual is that you can access a training that happened yesterday, today, because the materials are there and the recordings are there. Maybe the only thing you are not able to do, you are not able to ask live questions. However, we've said we have several HR forums where we are able to exchange best practices, questions, way forward, and so forth. So without much ado, it is 11:58. We were supposed to end this training at 11:30, which is a 3-hour program. So 3 hours plus 3 hours, 6 hours, 2 CPD points. I will wish to end there. If you have a question, let's engage. I am always available to assist and to move forward. And you are welcome for, not for lunch, yes. So, Babo, and I guess you need to be talking to one another. And like when we are doing this, Grace Waithera, saizi tunaongea saizi, you put your video on so that tunajua ni nani yuko alikuwa around, who just logged in and took off. And even networking should not be again be so difficult. Yeah.
My photo is there.
It's all right, Grace. Rashid, you there? Very well. Yeah, maybe Rose Ogata. And as I said somewhere in my conversation, I have sent you an email, Rose. So
I've got it, thank you.
If you okay, Karibu. So if you allow me, unless anyone has an AOB, I'll end the session. We meet tomorrow. The certificates are accessible on your portal. Did I say that? Wow. Sorry. I should have mentioned this. So if again I go to my courses there, it shows certificate pending for today's training. There is a reason for that. Yeah, this training, the certificate will be automatically released by 4 p.m. today. So if you log in again at that time, you would find that that part pending has changed to download. And when it is download, just click that, you get your certificate. And you can be able to print your receipt by clicking print. And I would want you to interact with that system. And if you find that something else needs to be modified, you let me know. I'm always willing to learn. Irene Githaiga? Irene wants to say something. Yeah.
So this is Zipporah.
Yes, Irene?
Zipporah.
Okay.
How do we
Yes,
log into the
Zipporah?
portal of ACHRP?
You put in, okay, when you created your account, Zipporah,
yes,
there was a password you set. However, I'm going to reset you remember the email you used?
yes.
Okay, I'm going to reset your password to HR 2021. Nobody will be able to log into your account because they don't know your email.
Okay.
And even if somebody did that, they are not able to, nobody is able to delete anything from your account. So HR 2021, small letters.
Okay.
And I also realized you did not enroll for you paid but never enrolled for the training. So log in and follow those steps I've shared. Is it?
Okay.
Very well.
I'll do that. Thank you.
Anyone else with something? Thanks, Zipporah.
Hello.
Hi, Irene.
Hi. Thank you very much, Dennis. And I appreciate the facilitator for today, Catherine Wamongi. That was a great insight training on manpower planning. However, I had posted a question on the WhatsApp chat, and I hope somebody can report to it. Then I had a similar question. I forgot my password, and I think you have guided, and so I'll be able to go through the process.
It is HR 2021.
21. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you.
Small letters.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you, Irene.
I enrolled to. I think I had not. I just gotten into the Zoom.
It is all right.
All right. Thank you so
know
much.
The steps?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Karibu. No one else? Catherine? Mire Kaifere.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. It's been a good experience. The training on manpower planning. I love the insights from Catherine. That was pretty good. Of course, unfortunately, having to do the training from the office, so I've been on and off, but I've been able to follow through. It's a good experience. And then thank you very much for making training affordable, training open for everyone. Actually, like I'm having my colleagues joining in. I'm really grateful for the opportunity and keep up the good work. Thank you for this platform again.
Haya, now. I have my co-director there who wanted some attention, which is very good. Thank you so much, Kaifere. Kaifere is one of the. I think we've worked together for this one on training, and we have associated closely for. This is the 5th year, and I'm very happy and very grateful for the support needed. And I look forward to continuing doing what we do and increasing the number of those who support our programs. Thanks. Someone else there? Golden? Frolin. So let us head there so that we can break for lunch. You have a great afternoon. Those who are at work, do your best. Those who are working from home again, do your best. And bye everyone. Thanks.